From X Stadium and Tyler Field, this is Wichita State baseball on WSUTV. Denning Gehrig alongside Tim Slack as the Shockers of Wichita State tangle with the Texas Arlington Mavericks in the finale of a 3-game series here in Wichita. And the sunshine and the warmth have departed after 2 beautiful days to start this series. We're left with a brisk 15-mile-an-hour wind blowing from the left field foul pole over to the right field foul pole, and temperatures dipping down into the low 40s. Tim, the Shockers victorious in each of the first 2 games of this series, due in large part to the contributions of Jordan Boyer.
Well, Jordan Boyer has done a great job filling in at shortstop for the Shockers so far this year in 12 of 13 contests. He came up big yesterday, and he's been great in this series. Of course, the home run in the 3rd inning yesterday, but he's 4 for 6, 4 runs scored. Anytime you get out of the 9th spot, get that production out of the 9th spot, it's fantastic, and he has been a catalyst for this Shocker offense. Junior
right-hander Connor Lungwitz gets the ball for Wichita State as the Shockers go for this sweep this afternoon, and Connor's still searching for a measure of consistency out on the bump.
Well, that's exactly right. He's had 1 really good start, and he's had 2 starts that have left something to be desired. Shockers looking for him to really lock down that Sunday spot in the rotation. He was given a blueprint yesterday by Liam Eddy in how to attack this UT Arlington team. Get ahead, force them to take defensive swings. That's what the Shockers are looking for out of Connor Lungwitz today.
Lungwitz for Wichita State. Trey Patterson, the starter for Texas Arlington. It's the Shockers and the Mavericks. We've got starting lineups and first pitch coming up next on WSU TV.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Wichita State Shockers at 11-2 against the Texas Arlington Mavericks at 4-8 entering play this afternoon. No defensive changes for Wichita State as they make just 1 substitution to the starting lineup from yesterday. That is Hunter Gibson taking over a designated hitter for Noah Croft, but otherwise the same defensive alignment for the Shockers, supporting pitcher Connor Lungwitz.
This defense has been very good for Todd Butler. Travis Young made a couple of sparkling plays yesterday, and he's been fantastic out in left field for the Shockers.
We talked about some of the inconsistencies for Connor Lungwitz. This will be his 4th start. Just 2 1/3 innings in his season opener against McNeese State, then pitched 6 shutout frames against Omaha, but was rocked for 6 hits and 5 runs in just 4 1/3 innings his last time out against Nebraska. There's the starting lineup for the Texas Arlington Mavericks, and they will switch things up just a little bit with their 9. Omar Salinas moves down to the 6th spot. He is just 1 for 8 in this series, and head coach Darren Thomas still looking to put the puzzle pieces in the right places.
Yeah, we've seen a practically different leadoff hitter every game of this series. They've moved Noah Vaughn, who's perhaps their best hitter, up and down in the lineup over the last week, and they're just searching for the right combination of bats to get them going.
So the Shockers going for the sweep here this afternoon, and a chance for some redemption for them as they had an opportunity to sweep away Nebraska last weekend here in Wichita. Led that Sunday game 7-2 and 9-7 into the 9th, but were unable to complete the task. And We will see if they can do so again here this afternoon.
Well, we've seen how important the responsibility of getting deep in the game it is for a starting pitcher. Lungwitz kind of faltered in that 5th inning against Nebraska, and that opened the door for the Cornhuskers to come back in what turned to be a wild finish.
Zach Cook to start it for the Mavericks, and he takes downstairs for ball 1. Our first pitch coming at 1:01 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Wichita, Kansas. Shockers wearing the throwback cream uniforms here on this Sunday afternoon. Texas Arlington, of course, in the blue tops over white pants as Lungwitz falls behind 2-0.
Well, getting ahead so important for Connor, and that's going to be a consistent theme. Follow the blueprint laid out this weekend in terms of getting ahead of the Mavericks lineup and force them to take defensive swings. They've proved that they can hit when you give them leverage. That's something that has to be priority number 1.
To the right side by Cook. Well struck, but a diving stop by Ritter. From his knees, throws him out.
Well, a fantastic play by Luke Ritter ranging to his left. And ball got off the bat quick of Cook. But a great play by Ritter to make the stop. And here is look number 2. As you see, that ball shoots towards the right side, but Ritter, great job, and then comes up with it and throws from his knees.
We talked about how on this turf, sometimes that second hop can really accelerate the baseball and make it a difficult play. But a nice job by Ritter deep into the 4-hole to take away a base hit from Cook. And R.J. Williams takes a strike, 0-1. Williams has had a rough series so far. He is 0 for 6. But he lines this one just over the glove of Boyer and on into left center field. Young does a good job to cut it off and will hold him to a single. But R.J. Williams off the schneid with a 1-out knock.
It felt like Arlington in the first 2 games of this series was somewhat patient and maybe over patient. Here they're coming out being aggressive against Connor Lungwitz, and Boyer almost had that one as hard as it was struck. Just didn't nick off the glove.
And so now it's the danger man in this Maverick lineup. That's Noah Vaughn. The only guy in this starting 9 with 3 hits in this series so far. He is 3 for 7, including a double and a triple on Friday. Good pitch by Lungwitz. Jumps ahead 0-1.
Well, Vaughn is maybe the most complete hitter in this Mavericks lineup. And his extra base hits Friday maybe a little too late, but he has shown that he has the ability to drive the ball to all fields. Good power, good relaxed stance.
He was 1 for 3 with a single yesterday. And the one time that he reached base, he was thrown out attempting to steal. Williams, by the way, on at first, 1 for 1 in stolen bases this year. He's got a very healthy lead. Just missed the outer edge from Lungwitz. Something we should note, the Shockers have deployed the same 3 starters in each of the first 4 weekends, and that is definitely a departure from a year ago when they had to use 10 different starting pitchers throughout the course of the 2017 season. Breaking ball stays high and away, but just nice for Todd Butler to kind of know who's going to be getting the ball Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, you love the trust and you love the confidence, and this is certainly still an opportunity for Connor Lungwitz to really knock down this Sunday spot, but I think the roles are seeming to flesh themselves out a lot sooner, and you at least have some answers that you're going with.
Popped him up, right side. Ritter coming over towards the line into foul territory, and he makes the catch.
Another windy day here at Egg Stadium. This one a little different than what we would call the norm, the usual, with the ball flying out to left field. Wind's really pushing it towards the right field line, and you see where Ritter starts off, stays with it the entire way. That's exactly how you're taught to go after a pop-up like that.
That's almost an impossible play for Mason O'Brien, who would have to go straight back over his shoulder. So pretty much only Ritter had a chance at it, took charge from the get-go as Christian Holly digs in from the right side. Lungwitz will check on Williams once again. Holly, 2 for 9 so far in the series. He was 0 for 4 yesterday, however. started in left field. He's back in the DH spot today.
Don't be surprised to see Williams run early in the count here. We saw aggressiveness from Arlington late yesterday when they were trying to take advantage of the base runners that they had.
Again, this Texas Arlington team doesn't run very often. Only 6 stolen base attempts the whole year. And 1 in this series. That was Vaughn, who was thrown out yesterday. Gunnar Troutwine, an excellent arm behind the plate.
But they're searching for answers in how to get this offense jump-started.
To the shortstop, Boyer backs up, bobbles it, and he's not going to have a play. Perhaps Jordan Boyer a little bit passive, waiting on that second hop for that ground ball, and ends up popping right in and out of his mitt. Mavericks have 2 aboard with 2 out.
Yeah, I think that had some funny spin to it as you see the second hop kind of shoots up right out of the pocket of the glove. And by the time he was able to recover, he really had no play. As Williams got a really good jump at second. He was going to make that tough even if Boyer had it cleanly on the short route to get that lead runner.
So an E6 keeps the inning alive for Texas Arlington, and it gets Will Olson to the plate. One of their better run producers. He's first pitch hacking at a fastball away and comes up empty.
But you look at the middle of this lineup, Vaughn, Holly, and Olson, the only 3 bats for Arlington with multi-hit series. Mavericks, again, you go back to they're just trying to find the timing, it seems like, offensively.
Into right center field. Genest is going to have to get on his horse into the gap, and now coming in makes the catch to retire the side. So the 2-out error doesn't hurt Wichita State. We move to the home half. We got no score on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Connor Lungwitz works around a 1-out single and a 2-out error to post a 0 in the top half of the first inning. So the Shockers will get their first look at redshirt senior Trey Patterson for Texas Arlington. He's supported by this defensive alignment. 2 changes for the Mavericks from yesterday as Zach Cook is back in there and left, and Will Olson takes over behind the plate for Patterson. And just a really interesting story, Tim. Patterson now in his 4th school at Texas Arlington, 5'10", 185-pound redshirt senior from Hazlet, Texas, who has bounced around quite a bit. He's done a little bit of everything in his college career, but has become a rather consistent starter for Texas Arlington.
Well, it's one of the longest bylines you'll ever see on a roster with all the slashes of places he's been, but he's very experienced. He's a pretty good athlete.
There's the starting 9 for Wichita State in terms of their batting order, and Hunter Gibson, as we mentioned, the only change from yesterday. He takes over a designated hitter for Noah Croft. It's Travis Young, Grayson Genesta, and Alec Boehm, right, left, right, due up in the first against Patterson. Shockers giving Travis Young his 3rd straight start in the leadoff spot. He's been there for each of the first 2 games of this series. And he takes inside for ball 1. 0 for 4 yesterday. Did lay down a sacrifice bunt and reached on an error. Trey Patterson was excellent a year ago on his way to all-conference honors, 7-4 with a 2.75 ERA in 15 starts for this Maverick club. Allowed only 90 hits in 98 innings, struck out 73 and walked 22. It's been a little bit more of a rough start for him so far in 2018. Jumps ahead of Young, 1-2.
Yeah, he's been banged up so far in his 3 outings against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Stephen F. Austin, and Wright State. About 5 innings in each start, with a little difference against Stephen F. Austin, but walks did hurt him in his last outing against Wright State. Not a power guy per se, as we've kind of talked about with a lot of these Arlington pitchers, but when you're a pitch-to-contact guy, you have to be efficient. You can't allow walks to bog you down.
Just 6 strikeouts and 4 walks for Patterson through his first 15 2/3 innings this year. And foul tipped into the mid of the catcher Olsen. Travis Young is down on strikes to start the bottom of the first.
He's had 2 strikeouts in each of his first 3 outings, and Trey Patterson starts this one off with a K of Travis Young. That was just a good sequence of having leverage, and then comes back. That's a ball down in the zone. Good sink to it to get the swing through.
If Travis is going to continue to get some run out of that leadoff spot, I think cutting down the strikeout is going to be a big aspect for him to improve upon. As he starts the bottom of the first with a punch out, he had 2 strikeouts yesterday and has a lot of the tools that you would look for in a guy hitting out of the leadoff spot, but too many strikeouts at this juncture.
Well, we've talked about it. The most important quality for a Shockers leadoff guy, a guy hitting in that one spot every game, is getting on base. You want to see guys on base for Genesta and Bohm.
Here is Grayson Genesta. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. Takes down and inside, having a good series, 3 for 8. The batting average stands at .333 entering play today. 5 home runs and 14 RBI, good for third on the team. And he is in the driver's seat, 3-1.
And between Genesta and Bohm's RBI numbers, and especially Mason O'Brien, too, you can't really leave him out the way he's swinging. But those 3, I think you got to tip your cap to the guys in front of him because they have been getting on base.
So a guy who didn't strike out many and didn't walk many has struck out a guy and walked a guy through the first 2 hitters in the bottom of the first. Genesta aboard as Alec Bohm strides to the dish. We alluded a little bit to the bumpy road that Trey Patterson has traveled to get to Texas Arlington. That all started at North Central Texas Community College, where he was almost exclusively an outfielder. Played 45 games in the field and hit .287. And he has a somewhat unorthodox stretch position. Boom, lasers it foul just above the dugout, 0-1. You're going to see Patterson lifting that lead leg as he comes set.
As a base runner, you have to be paying attention to him the entire way because you will get fooled if you're not locked in. See, as he comes set, it's almost like he's already going home.
And he'll make a move over to check on Genesta, who is 4 for 5 in stolen bases this year. Patterson, after that stint at North Central Texas, transferred to Kansas State, where he was all set to be a 2-way player for the Wildcats, but got hurt and did not play in Manhattan. Bohm again foul off to the right side. And so Patterson then transferred down to Cisco Community College in Texas, where he was a reliever. Went 4-2 with a 3.95 ERA and 3 saves for a Cisco program that reached the Junior College World Series. And now he is a starter at Texas Arlington. So he has done just about everything at 4 different schools. No balls, 2 strikes to Bohm instead of move over.
It is such a unique story to see a guy who kind of comes in and because of his athleticism fills whatever role that a team really needs. And I think we've talked about it with Arlington quite a bit, but one of their biggest needs has been starting pitching, getting length out of guys.
There goes Genesta, and a check swing foul by Bohm. Not sure if he wanted to do it, but he stays alive at 0-2.
That looked like a pretty good pitch to the point where Bohm just needed to spoil it foul anyways. But Genesta did have a really good jump as Patterson's been concerned enough to keep Genesta close, but Grayson seeming like he's starting to pick up the rhythm a little bit.
In what constitutes a slump for Alec Boehm, he is just 2 for 7 in the series so far. Had some really good swings yesterday, though, including a ground rule double to right center field. He also lined out to deep left. So no real reason to start pressing the panic button by any means. And very concerned is Trey Patterson with the movements of Grayson Genesta on at first base. He does not even have that big of a lead, just barely to the cutout.
Yeah, early on, Mavericks seemed to be intent on taking away the running game for the Shockers.
Good block by Olsen at a breaking ball that spins down and away. Boehm works it back to 1-2. Saw that Texas Arlington is very content to bounce breaking balls if they are ahead in counts. They will try and force you to get yourself out, expanding the strike zone. Fastball works down and in.
That's a good spot. They use a lot of different styles of approach, especially with the variety of arms that they do have. But you're exactly right. We've almost seen it be habitual in terms of the way that Arlington pitchers will come out and attack down in the zone, and they have gone after Alec Boehm that way pretty consistently. And I think that's one way. I mean, if the ball bounces, you figure a big hitter like Boehm's not going to be able to lift it. That should be one area at least where he shouldn't be able to get some power into it.
2-2. Up the middle might be 2. Johnson goes to second for 1. Minjarez on to first, and it's in time. 4-6-3, and the Shockers turned away in the home half of the first. We move to the second. Still no score on WSUTV.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Trey Patterson induces a 4-6-3 twin killing to get out of trouble in the bottom half of the first, and we've got no score heading to the second on a blustery and somewhat chilly afternoon in Wichita. Just gorgeous weather the first 2 days of this series, but it is back to early March in the Midwest weather, and Connor Lungwitz, after throwing 14 pitches to throw up a 0 in the first, will contend with 6, 7, and 8 in the Texas Arlington order here in the second.
We had such good weather on both Friday and Saturday, and we talked about it, but the park played a little bit bigger than it had in the previous couple of homestands for the Shockers. Today, even with the wind, it still seems like it's playing pretty big because the wind's blowing straight in from left field.
Omar Salinas will start it for the Mavericks here in the second. Shockers done a great job of limiting him through the first 2 games of this series. Just 1 for 8, including 0 for 4 yesterday. And if you want to point to someone who this Texas Arlington team needs to get going in order to have this lineup producing a little more thump, Salinas is a great guy to highlight. 11 home runs a season ago, including 10 in Sun Belt League play. None so far this year, hitting at just .250.
Well, his approach has been really good, really impressive this weekend. He just hasn't had the hits to back it up. The Shockers have had a pretty good plan against him, but he was hitting in the 2 spot Friday and Saturday. I think Darren Thomas with the idea to drop him down, see if he can get a couple of fastballs to hit.
Well, he's going to squeak one through the left side, a fastball that he rolls between Bohm and Boyer, and a leadoff single for the Mavericks in the second.
Well, sometimes that's just the way the game goes, right? Salinas has taken a couple of good swings and hit some atom balls at people. This one looked like he almost got on the top of it and just rolled it through the left side, and that goes as a base knock.
Second hit for Texas Arlington as R.J. Williams singled with one out in the first. And now it's Mijares, the shortstop. Squares to bunt, gets it down in front of the plate. Lungwitz is only going to have one play. It's to first, and his toss to O'Brien is ahead of Mijares. Sacrifice completed, 1-3 on the putout.
Well, this is one of those aggressive bunt situations. Arlington hasn't had a ton of opportunities. They didn't have any opportunities yesterday, so they immediately get a runner into scoring position as soon as they get somebody on base. And a great sacrifice bunt executed perfectly by Josh Mijares.
If I'm Connor Lungwitz, though, I'm very content to take that out. A .273 hitter giving himself up to put a runner in scoring position for two guys hitting 111 and 133 respectively. It's Aaron Funk first. He taps it to the left side. Boyer behind the bag throws on to first. Advancing to third is Salinas, but now two down.
Well, that's the give and take, right, of a bunt. And you look at the situation. If Mijares plays that at bat out and perhaps strikes out, well, this is a double play ball and you're out of the inning. So you get the guy into scoring position. And Arlington, they only left two guys on base yesterday, and that was just a result of not getting many guys on, period. So trying to jumpstart the offense, do anything they can to shake it up against Connor Lungwitz early on and try and put some pressure on the Shockers.
Liam Eddy, Chandler Sandburn, and Tommy Barnhouse limiting the Mavericks to just 3 hits yesterday and 1 unearned run. First pitch swinging is Easton Johnson, and he lifts it foul off to the right and out of play.
I thought such a big part of that yesterday was limiting the walks. Really no free passes from Shocker pitching. They were aggressive, and they consistently got ahead. And that really takes the oomph out of a lineup. That allows you, that forces, rather, an offense to swing defensively, and that's what the Shockers did.
And Lungwitz ahead of Johnson quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Johnson 0 for 6 so far in the series, does have a sacrifice fly back on Friday. No score, top of the second here at X Stadium. Shockers looking for a 3-game sweep. Lungwitz tried to expand the outside edge with a breaking ball, 1-2.
That was a good pitch. I think that might have missed the target that Gunnar Troutwine had set up there, because Gunnar had to dive out, which is something you typically don't see, but certainly started like a pitch to fall off. Yeah, it looked like Troutwine was set up over the heart of the plate. Maybe wanted to see that one bounce.
Just missed the edge with a fastball. They'll appeal down to first base umpire Bill McGuire, but no swing. 2-2.
Well, even though he's allowed Johnson back into the count, I think 2 really good pitches from Connor Lungwitz there. And that's certainly all you can ask for, is make good pitches at the right times.
See if after 2 pitches away wants to come back in. And he struck him out, swung on and missed. Connor Lungwitz gets around the leadoff single to post another 0 in the second. We move to the home half. Still no score on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
No score as we move into the bottom half of the second. Shockers will have 4, 5, and 6 coming to the plate. But first, a reminder, the Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes is the perfect place to spend time with family and friends. Open to the public, the Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes feature 8 bowling lanes, billiard tables, plus great food and beverages like freshly made burgers, sandwiches, salads, cold beer, and more. The Shocker Sports Grill and Lanes, located in the lower level of the Radigan Student Center, and the perfect place for kids' birthday parties, group events, or a night out with friends. Mason O'Brien will start it for the Shockers in the second. Got a 1-out walk in the first, but a double play ball erased the threat.
I can't say enough about what Mason O'Brien has done in the middle third of the Shockers lineup.
Pops it into shallow left center field. Wind is going to push it away from Cook, but he does track it down, and it's 2 pitches and 1 out for the Shockers in the second.
Just one that he gets under, and on other days this ball carries out to the warning track because of how severe the wind is. Today this pushes a fly ball that started out in left field practically to center field, as you see Noah Vaughn giving way to Zach Cook.
And good luck getting something out of here to left today. It would take a rather impressive blast, but anything in the air to right, if you can start it at straightaway right field, is going to get some help pushed towards the corner. Luke Ritter takes ball 1 and chops it foul. We saw a good example of, in my mind, the kind of hit it's going to take yesterday when Jordan Boyer sliced one down the right field line that hooked out into the corner. That's the idea. Well struck by Ritter, but it's at Johnson. He bobbles, recovers, throws, and it's going to pull Salinas off the bag.
Well, we've been talking so much about the wind on balls in the air, but so far it looks like some balls on the ground that have been struck firmly in middle infielders have been hard enough, and Ritter just stung this one. Just hits the heel of Johnson's glove, and again, trying to recover by the time he does. Even a good throw, I don't think, gets Ritter.
So an E4 on Easton Johnson. The Shockers again with a 1-out runner as Dayton Dugas comes to the plate. To the right side, that's going to get through for a base hit. Ritter will move up to second, stop right there. But Dayton Dugas records the Shockers' first hit of the ball game.
Well, there's your approach right there, and we'll see who follows suit from Dayton Dugas. Big right side. You see all the room in the world with Salinas holding Ritter on first, and then he just drives the ball to the right side. Keep it on the ground and hit it hard.
So now Hunter Gibson, making his first start in a Wichita State uniform, has 4 previous at-bats, all in a pinch-hitting role. And his lone hit came in his first at-bat. It was a home run. Takes up and outside for ball 1.
Real quickly, going back to kind of the conversation with the wind, the only thing I see, we've talked about what the wind has done in pushing the ball out to left. The way it blows today, though, you really do have just a finite spot, like you were talking about, driving it right to right field where the wind's going to help it.
Through the left side, a base hit. Ritter up to third base. He's going to get the wave around on Cook. Throw in is going to be not in time as it ricochets off the catcher, Olsen. Everybody's safe and everybody up 90 feet.
Well, we had yet to talk about Zach Cook having the best arm in the Arlington outfield. He has a cannon, and he lets this one go, but the hop just takes off on the catcher, Olsen, who was trying to prepare his tag. You saw he had his glove turned down as opposed to catching the high hop and being able to slap on the tag. That allows Ritter to slide in and the Shockers to grab the lead.
And a good read by Dayton Dugas and Hunter Gibson as well. They both move up to second and third respectively. And Gunnar Troutwine batting with 2 in scoring position. Cuts and misses at a breaking ball. Gunnar came through in a similar spot to this yesterday. With 1 out in the 8th inning, doubled home a pair of runs to help Wichita State to that 5-1 victory.
And he just lined up that ball that he hit.
And what I loved about it, too, is that Gunnar recognized the situation. He had 2 strikes on him, figured that a breaking ball was coming in a right-on-right situation, stayed back on it, and just drove it to right center field. That is a senior approach and a senior at-bat. Ball and a strike. Trey Patterson delivers. Tapped foul.
I think you're absolutely right. It was a short swing, short and compact to the ball, and he has a lot of power. That's something I think you can overlook, just kind of skipping through the numbers. But Troutwine is a strong hitter. I think he just has a very mature approach, not necessarily trying to lift the ball all the time.
Swings and misses. And Olsen applies the tag, so Troutwine can't deliver in this spot. And the runners left at second and third, now 2 down for Jordan Boyer.
That was just a good pitch from Patterson. He had Troutwine set up for the off-speed pitch and was able to execute. Take another look at the put-away pitch here. Good breaking ball off the outside part of the plate.
So 2-out magician Jordan Boyer comes up with 2 on and 2 in scoring position. Shockers already in front, 1-0. First pitch swinging back at Patterson, and he made the catch to end the inning. Boyer robbed, the Shockers turned away. They do take the lead on the RBI single from Hunter Gibson. As we move to the third, it's 1-0 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Some tough hitting luck for Jordan Boyer. Turns aside a Wichita State rally in the second as he lines it right back at Trey Patterson. Makes a nice ankle-high grab, but Wichita State does take the lead. Hunter Gibson's RBI single responsible for the game's only scoring thus far, as Connor Lungwitz will deal with the top of the Texas Arlington order in the third. It's Cook, Williams, and Vaughn, left, right, left coming up. And it's been a pretty good start for Connor Lungwitz. He has allowed 3 base runners, 2 of his own volition, but for the most part, working ahead in counts, throwing strike 1, and kind of controlling at-bats from there.
Well, I really liked how he responded after they advanced the runner to second on the bunt in that inning. He comes out, gets a ground out on 1 pitch, and then he strikes out Johnson in the inning. And he really threw 3 great pitches after getting ahead 0-2. So 5 great pitches, if you want to count it, to get out of that frame. And that's what you want to see from Connor Lungwitz. Keep being aggressive, keep attacking, and show off some of that great stuff.
Zach Cook will start it for Texas Arlington here in the third. He was robbed of a base hit his first time up when Luke Ritter made a diving stop in the 4-hole and threw him out from his knees.
Tell you what, though, he almost atoned and got even with the Shockers. He made a great throw to try and cut down Ritter last inning.
Up the right field line, Wynn is going to push this one well out of play and off the light pole. But there you get a good look at what the breeze can do today. That ball started maybe right down the line, a couple feet into foul territory at most, and ended up well out of here.
Well, that's kind of the conversation we were having, right? Is that ball right down the right field line is going to get pushed foul, and that's the tricky part. Is there's, I don't know, would you give it a 30-foot window from 375 to where the right fielders are playing right now, that where the wind will help it? Other than that, it's probably going to push it foul.
Lungwitz ahead 1-2. Shockers playing Cook to the pull side. And something we saw a lot on Tuesday against SIU Edwardsville when the wind was blowing at least this hard, if not harder, was that the Shockers played Travis Young exceptionally shallow in left field, recognizing that it is almost impossible to hit a ball over the left fielder's head today. And he is shallow once again. Back foot breaking ball, and Lungwitz strikes out Cook to start the third.
Well, that was a great pitch by Connor, and he seems to have the old Uncle Charlie working pretty well here today. Went to it a little bit at the end of the second. This is a back foot breaking ball, as Denning says, right on that left foot. What a spot.
Good sequence from Lungwitz as he records his second strikeout. They've come in the last two hitters, and now it's R.J. Williams.
If we get a shot of the defense, you'll see that where Travis Young is playing, he plays a little bit deeper. There you see him on the left of your screen. A little bit deeper for right-hand hitters, but lefties, he will really move in. And, Dana, I think you're exactly right. It's got to feel, at least right now, it feels downright impossible to get a ball out to left.
And to me, if a hitter wants to drive it over your left fielder's head today, you just tip your cap, give him the double. But you have to play the percentages. And that's that in these conditions, if you can take away a hit on a soft line drive into left center field, I think there's a lot more value in that than potentially surrendering an extra base hit. Lungwitz falls behind R.J. Williams, 3-1.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You think about the way that we've already seen the ball push back, and you almost have to have your center fielder and shortstop ready for balls hit to left field to be able to help out on.
Lungwitz, after going to his first 3-ball count, evens it up by running one across the inside edge to Williams. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The dangerous Noah Vaughn looms in the on-deck circle. 3-2. Lined into right field, and R.J. Williams has himself a 2-hit day.
A couple good at-bats from R.J. Williams, as he has 2 of the team's 3 hits already and 2 line drives. This ball payoff pitch, it's away, and he just lines it right over the head of Luke Ritter.
I think you can definitely live with that, though, from Connor Lungwitz. Attacking with a fastball on 3-2, it was down. That's just a good piece of hitting from Williams. You will take singles any day of the week. It's free passes that can really come back to bite you, especially ahead of Noah Vaughn. Popped out to the second baseman Ritter in foul territory his first time up, and takes ball 1.
Yeah, tip the cap if you make the right pitch and they hit it, that's fine. I think the one thing that you still desire a little bit.
Down to O'Brien, to second for 1. On to first in time. 3-6-3. Mason O'Brien starts the double play, and Connor Lungwitz out of trouble in the third. To the home half, 1-0 Wichita State on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Well, they say the 3-6-1 double play is the toughest to turn in baseball, but the 3-6-3, not much easier. And Mason O'Brien made this look fairly routine to end the inning. A nice turn up the middle from Jordan Boyer as well.
Yeah, probably just a notch below the pitcher having to cover, but you see O'Brien get his feet set and receive the return throw from Jordan Boyer. Mason O'Brien, we've talked about his offense, but his defense has been just absolutely stellar over at first base for Wichita State.
Has not committed an error yet. Wichita State as a team has only committed 7 with their error earlier in this ball game. Travis Young will start it, but the team defense has been nothing short of spectacular, fielding at a .987 clip entering play today.
Well, it sure is fun to talk about the offense, especially the power numbers that Wichita State has put up. But we mentioned it a little bit yesterday. They're doing a lot of little things right, and I think defense kind of adds up to be more than just a little thing. But the Shockers defending, when they're at their peak, they have made some stellar plays and supported this pitching staff very well.
Travis Young has been a part of that great defense. He made some sparkling plays yesterday, including a sliding catch in left center field to take away an extra base hit. He's down 1-2, though, after striking out in his first at-bat.
Well, oddly enough, Trey Patterson has struggled with leadoff hitters this year to the tune of the opposing average against a .444, but today he's retired both leadoff guys he's faced.
Young lays off this breaking ball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's a good way to get yourself into trouble, allowing a .444 average to the leadoff man. And he strikes out Young. Foul tipped it into the mid of Olsen. A couple punch outs for Travis to start it, but that may be a big reason why Trey Patterson's numbers, at least up to this point, have regressed a little bit from last year. Just 0-1 with a 6.89 ERA in his 3 starts to begin 2018. A few more hits per inning. The strikeouts down, though. The walks still maintaining at the same rate, but it's really the hits and the leadoff men aboard that have victimized Trey Patterson this year.
Well, that means he's constantly pitching out of the stretch. And I think when you're constantly on the ropes, that becomes a disadvantage. Talk about pitching ahead in counts, but I think pitching behind in innings can equally be difficult.
Well, he has wanted nothing to do with Grayson Genestis so far today. Walked him on 5 pitches back in the first. Behind him here, 2-0. Genestis now has walked 12 times already this year. Good hack on 2-0, fouls it back this way.
Well, Arlington has played the defense this weekend against Genestis. Middle infielders are basically like outfielders 4 and 5, as they are trying to cover as much ground as possible.
And Grayson had 3 balls and a strike.
See Minhara's there. Now you see Johnson at second base. And really what that does, that allows the right fielder Funk to play a little bit deeper in that right field corner, but they are shifted firmly to the right side.
And it's not going to matter as Grayson Genestis has drawn 2 5-pitch walks, the only 2 free passes that Patterson has handed out. And Young has struck out twice. Genestis has walked twice, so the same start to the third as it was to the first, and now it's Alec Bohm.
Kind of an odd pattern, especially after we've talked about Patterson being a pitch-to-contact guy. And with Young and Genestis, it's been about the strikeout and the walk.
Hopefully the pattern does not continue with Bohm, who bounced into a 4-6-3 double play to end the first. Alec did not appear pleased with the strike call from Ben Harlow, 0-1.
Yeah, he felt that was down. And Alec, big 6'5". You get the ball up to him. If you make a mistake up there, he can do damage, but he tries to pride himself on having a good feel for the zone.
Trey Patterson was plenty interested in Grayson Genestis his first time aboard. Made 4 pickoff attempts by my count and really slowed the tempo with runners on. And now time called at home plate. Wichita State in front 1-0 on Hunter Gibson's RBI single in the second. That was an unearned run as Luke Ritter reached on an error to start that rally. Swing and a miss. Bohm down 0-2.
Well, we didn't see Patterson work as slowly in that second inning he had a little bit more tempo, but with Genesta on, he really grinds it out. Might be the combination of Genesta on first and Bohm at the plate where Patterson's really trying to be careful.
Long pause, 0-2 high. 5 of 6 hitters in that second inning for Wichita State swung at one of the first 3 pitches of the at-bat and put the ball in play in the first 3 pitches. The one who didn't, Gunnar Troutwine, ended up striking out. So you wonder if the Shockers will continue to try and be aggressive early in counts against Trey Patterson. Genesta away at first with his 1-out walk, and Patterson checks on him once again.
Well, the other thing this does for Patterson by checking on Genesta is it almost works like a different pitch without having to throw one to Alec Bohm. Kind of forgets what he's been throwing.
Breaking ball caught him looking, and Trey Patterson records his 4th strikeout.
I think Bohm thought that ball was down 2, and Patterson goes to the well with a breaking ball down in the zone, but able to locate 2 of the 3 pitches, or 2 of the 3 strikes in that at bat down. And here you get a look that is really got to be the furthest corner, both down and away of the strike zone.
A pitcher's pitch, to be sure, but well executed by Patterson, whether it was a strike or not. He gets a big punch out and sandwiched a couple of strikeouts around the walk to Genesta as Mason O'Brien comes to the dish.
Well, it's that old saying, the old baseball adage of hitter gets a pitch, a pitcher gets a pitch, and an umpire gets a pitch in every count in an at bat. And as a hitter, you want to make sure that you take advantage of the one that you get.
Mason O'Brien flew out to left his first time up. Texas Arlington employing that same shift against him that they do against Genesta. Swung over to the pull side. .45 pitches now for Patterson as he makes his way through this 3rd inning. Texas Arlington has had to utilize 3 relievers in each of the first 2 games as the Shockers have dipped into the well of that Texas Arlington bullpen. Meanwhile, for Wichita State, you got to think that it's pretty much all hands on deck here on Sunday. Only had to use 2 relievers yesterday, and neither one for more than 12 pitches.
Yeah, the Shockers are pretty efficient the midweek as well in the bullpen. So you got to feel like everybody's pretty rested.
Trey Patterson is not going to let Grayson Genesta get more than 3 steps off the first base bag. And Grayson's going to call time just to gather himself behind first base before this 1-1 pitch to O'Brien.
There's that spring training game the other day between the Angels and the Cubs where the Angels called for a pickoff with Anthony Rizzo standing firmly on first base.
Feels that way right now.
Not much different.
What's interesting to me is that Genesta does not even have a big lead and that Patterson is working him back. He's pretty much been right there the whole time. Missed the outside corner. 2-1.
You teach young ball players, you get 2 shuffles and then basically a body length. So you take a step and a dive back to the bag. Grayson Genesta is basically just a body length away from the bag right now, not too far off of first.
O'Brien into right center field. On the run is Vaughn. Looks like he's got a beat on it, and he makes the catch a couple steps in front of the warning track. So the Shockers get a 1-out walk, but nothing else in the 3rd. To the 4th, 1-0 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Hunter Gibson's RBI single, the only separation through the first 3 innings. Connor Lungwitz still in search of his first traditional 1-2-3 frame. He got a double play to record a 1-2-3 third, but trying to set down all 3 that he faces here in the 4th. He'll have to get through Christian Holly, Will Olson, and Omar Salinas, 4, 5, and 6 in the Texas Arlington order.
Tradition's overrated for Connor. He's finding his own way to keep the Arlington bats in check. But so far for the first 3 innings, you know, you look at kind of what we talked about in terms of the blueprint. He has fallen behind hitters at times, but he's had pretty good command. And I think that that's been one of the most important things is even though he's fallen behind, he's been able to regroup and get back into counts pretty effectively.
Yeah, just the 1 3-ball count, has not issued a walk yet. And perhaps most importantly, has been hyper efficient with his pitch count. Still under 40 as we start the 4th, and he throws a strike to Holly.
Well, I mentioned the blueprint from Liam Eddy yesterday, and I thought the most important part about that was it was all quick counts. It was all 3, 4 pitches and an at bat, and it was forcing action.
Yes, he did. Couldn't check the swing on a pitch down and away. Lungwitz ahead of Holly, 0-2. He reached on an error by the shortstop Boyer his first time up.
And I know on Tuesday against SIU Edwardsville, you and Shane talked a little bit about it, but I think that pitch kind of illustrated the point of, you know, sometimes you don't have to be around the zone when you set up the right pitch.
Holly again to shortstop. This time Boyer makes the play on the run. And it's quickly 1 up and 1 down for the Mavericks in the 4th.
Well, and that's it right there. You get ahead in the count, you force a defensive swing. Christian Holly's going to have to try and drive a pitch that's away, and you see him just roll over it. And that's an easy hop for Jordan Boyer.
Connor also doing a very good job of keeping the ball out of the air, where it can be, at the very least, interesting, if not dangerous today. Only 2 outs recorded in the air so far. Missed the outside edge to Olson. He was one of those, with a fly ball to center to end the 1st.
Oh, varying speeds, getting guys to get on top of pitches, and it's a good recipe for keeping the ball on the ground.
Locks up Olson with a curveball, evens it up at a ball and a strike. If you can throw that behind in counts for strikes, you're in good shape.
Well, absolutely.
Again, we've talked quite a bit about how much pitching is the objective is to disrupt the hitter's timing. And if a hitter is looking for a certain pitch and he gets something else, you don't even necessarily have to be perfect with your execution of that pitch. They're looking fastball, and you can just throw a breaking ball for a strike anywhere. You're ahead of the curve.
Well, yesterday you were talking about rocking chair days in terms of enjoying it out in the bullpen, but I always thought of the rocking chair as a pitcher of making a guy switch which feet he was hitting off of. If you get a guy uncomfortable moving his weight back and forth, and like you see Olson kind of out in front on that front foot there, it's a great recipe for success, and it's a great indicator in terms of you're getting a guy to be behind or be early and just kind of throw his timing off in general.
3-2. Breaking ball tapped off the foot. A little bit of a late call from Ben Harlow, but he does eventually raise the arms at home plate, and Olson lives to see another day.
And I think Olson kind of helped with the call by screaming out after it banged off his foot there. This is not the day. We saw a lot of balls this weekend hit off ankles and shins. This is not the day I'd want to foul a ball off my foot.
And Lungwitz lets that one get away. A breaking ball that spins high and outside, and he issues his first walk with 1 out in the 4th.
Well, we talked about the success that Connor's had today because of his command, and that one just slipped away from him, just kind of like that at bat in terms of he was right there with Olsen the whole time, and then just took one pitch that came out of the hand a little awkwardly.
Omar Salinas slapped a ground ball through the left side his first time up. High and away again from Lungwitz. Haven't seen much movement on the base paths from Texas Arlington this weekend, whether that's just getting runners on in general or moving them once they get there. You saw Salinas step out and take a look at third base coach Darren Thomas, but we saw a hit and run on Friday that actually worked as they put a runner in motion, and Minjarez chopped a grounder to the right side that bounced off the glove of Boyer and produced runners at first and third, and then one stolen base attempt yesterday. But that's been it as far as moving runners. And it's hard to play station-to-station baseball when you're hitting .229 as a team with a slugging percentage just over .350. This might come back to Travis Young. Looks like it will, just to the left field foul line. And for some reason, Will Olsen was very close to second base. Had to turn on the jets and race back to first as there's two out.
I'm not quite sure what Olsen saw off the bat, if he thought that the wind was going to push it that far away from Travis Young. But we've talked about it in this series, how good of a defender Travis Young is. And smart there to think about the throw, but really smart not to go through with it.
So two down, and Lungwitz can get out of the inning if he can retire Minjarez, who laid down a sacrifice bunt his first time up.
Well, to go back to your point, and it is something that Arlington is searching for in terms of what style of baseball that they're going to play consistently. I don't think we've gotten a really great picture in this series. Shockers have done a lot of good jobs to not allow them to answer those questions. When you only have, 5 guys on base like they did on Saturday, there's really not many opportunities to create anything.
Hard to play any kind of style offensively with 5 runners. And I suppose it really all starts with that for Darren Thomas. They've got 4 guys in their lineup today hitting under 200. It's hard to really get creative when that goes.
Well, and I think the biggest part of that, right, is they're just looking for the guys who can come in and get hits. And you see Cook insert into the leadoff spot. They've moved Salinas down in the order. They're really trying everything to just see what's the best combination in their lineup.
I'm sure every coaching staff in the world would love to have a team that can either go out and rely on the long ball or go out and move runners, put things in play, be active. But ultimately, it comes down to your personnel. And if guys aren't swinging the bat, at some point you kind of just have to take it back to square one, go back to the basics of we're going to try and get hits and get on base. Lungwitz has worked the count to 2 balls and a strike on Minjarez. Enters play at .273. A home run and 7 RBI.
Arlington's played 12 games before today. I mean, you still think that they're not even at the quarter pole of their season yet, so they still have time to search for that identity. But that's kind of the rhythm I think that most teams have to go through. And you go back to what Wichita State has right now, and I think that is a big part of the luxury or the blessing or however you want to describe it. But the Shockers really knew the identity that they had coming back. And that's a big contrast for Arlington. They're still searching for that.
Ground out, walk, and a fly out to start this top of the 4th. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Minjarez. Olsen away at first base. Not a stolen base threat. Lungwitz would prefer to end it here. 2-2. Up the middle, and he caught it. An atom ball, and look what I found for Connor Lungwitz as he retires the side on a screamer hit right back at him. Sigh of relief for everybody involved. Shockers up 1-0 on WSUTV.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Not much to complain about for Connor Lungwitz through 4 scoreless innings, though he, I imagine, had some variation of a heart attack on a line drive back to the mound from Josh Minjarez that just happened to find leather and get him out of that top of the 4th inning. This is not so much a skill play, more a reaction one, and look what I found.
Well, that's one of those that catches you just as much as you catch it, but Lungwitz leaving the ball, I think, out of almost like he was just taking a deep breath as he dropped that one on the mound.
Wichita State has also lined back to the mound once today. That was Jordan Boyer, who ripped one back at Trey Patterson to end the 2nd. So both pitchers have flashed the leather so far today. Luke Ritter starts it in the bottom of the 4th. He's had 2 balls and no strikes, followed by Dayton Duga and Hunter Gibson.
It was interesting, the symmetry that you see on both sides of the ball early in the game as teams are trying to get separation. Seems like this series has had its fair share of mirroring each other.
Luke Ritter started the Shockers scoring rally in the 2nd by reaching on an error committed by the second baseman Johnson. Struck a ground ball well, pretty much right at him though, and Johnson couldn't field it cleanly. Fouls it right at home plate, 3-2. And then singles from Duga and Gibson brought home the game's only run.
I give credit to Wichita State, and we saw it early this weekend on Friday with just the way the Shockers have been hustling and taking advantage of mistakes that Arlington has made.
Well, Luke Ritter continues to draw free passes at an excellent rate. 12 walks for him now on the season, and the Shockers with a leadoff runner in the 4th for Dayton Duga. Dayton picked on a first pitch his first time up and shot it through a vacated right side of the infield. He'll have a similar opportunity here with Ritter on at first, forcing Salinas to hold him on. And Duga again to the right side and through for a hit. So Dayton's got the right idea. There is a lot of room available, and he has taken advantage of it.
I love it. We've talked about different things to get Dayton Duga going so far throughout the early part of the season. But today he has looked fantastic with runners on, with the runner on, Ritter in front of him. 2 singles, almost the exact same spot, and starting to hit it with some pop and some oomph.
And Hunter Gibson's day is going to be done, as it appears as though Josh DeBacker has come out of the first base dugout for Wichita State and is going to pinch hit. So Gibson is going to finish 1 for 1 with an RBI single and is going to be lifted here in the 4th. It's a bit of a interesting move by Todd Butler. We'll see if he is asking Josh DeBacker to sacrifice bunt here. That would be my guess as far as the personnel switch.
A left-handed bat for left-handed bat, but at the same time, Todd Butler has showed a willingness through the first 13 games this year to really use that DH spot to get a lot of bats in the lineup and to try and get a lot of bats going. And you can see if he feels cold on the bench, maybe he felt like Hunter Gibson was getting cold sitting on the bench.
So Josh DeBacker comes off the Shocker bench to swing it. Does not have a hit yet in 4 trips. Has laid down 1 sacrifice bunt. Squares, gets it down, back to the mound. Patterson looked at third. He's going to go to first. And so DeBacker does the job. 1-3 on the putout, and 2 in scoring position with 1 out.
Well, it's putting the pressure on Trey Patterson, as not only do you make him field his position and field the play on a bunt pretty much right back to him. You'll see DeBacker square. Right back at the pitcher, Patterson, who fields it and makes the play. But now the pressure on Patterson to get out of a jam with less than 2 outs and 2 guys in scoring position.
Mavericks are going to bring the infield in for Gunnar Troutwine, who came up in this exact same spot in the second. Runners at second and third, 1 out. He struck out swinging, so a chance to atone. Chased a breaking ball, 0-1.
Well, that was the pitch that Patterson relied on the last time to Troutwine, stayed middle away, and really forced a couple of swings and misses out of Gunnar Troutwine.
Well, I imagine Gunner's going to see a couple more of those over the course of this at-bat until he shows an ability to put a good swing on it. Patterson missed with that one, 1-1. But at some point, you feel like it's going to come down to Gunner trying to put a good swing on a breaking ball.
Well, the Mavericks staff all weekend has shown if they get you out with a breaking ball, they're going to come back with it aggressively the next time.
And to center field, a base hit. One's going to score. Dugas coming to the plate. The throw in by Vaughn is cut off. Relay not in time. A late call from Ben Harlow as he wasn't sure if Dugas slapped the plate, but it's 3-0 Shockers on a 2-run single from Gunnar Troutwine.
Well, this was identical to the at-bat last night from Troutwine yesterday, in which he laced the ball right back up the box. It even has the same spin to it to go into right center field. There you're going to see Ritter score. Here's the pitch again, right back up the box, and it has that tailing action to center field. If we get another look at the plate here, Vaughn's throw cut off by Salinas, and it looked like Dugas tagged the leg of Olsen rather than the plate the first time, and that's why he hustled back to make sure that he was safe at home.
So Gunnar Troutwine, 4 RBI now in the series. He's up to 9 for the season, and his last 3 at-bats have all come with runners at second and third and 1 out. He's come through twice as Jordan Boyer cuts and misses.
How eerily similar was that swing and everything about that to the one that he had last night, yesterday, to drive in the 2 runs?
Just a little more towards straightaway center rather than right center, but you love the approach. Boyer hit a missile back at the ankles of Patterson his first time up, and Trey Patterson flashed the athleticism that made him a two-way player and also an outfielder. Reached down to snare it and end a scoring threat in that second frame.
That certainly could have extended that inning had that ball gotten through or Patterson not been able to handle it.
And now he's picking on Gunnar Troutwine at first base, and that is not something I would be particularly concerned about if I was Trey Patterson. You don't want to rule it out that Gunnar will be on the move, but if he is, something's gone wrong. Back up the middle by Boyer leads Minjarez right to the bag, and that's going to be an inning-ending double play. The Shockers do add 2, though, on Gunnar Troutwine's 2 RBI single. We move to the 5th. 3-0 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Little small ball pays off for Wichita State in the bottom half of the 4th as a walk, a single, a sacrifice bunt, and then a 2-run single from Gunnar Troutwine has stretched the lead out to 3-0 and given a little more cushion to Connor Lungwitz, who has tossed up 4 scoreless frames thus far.
Well, put an earmark on Luke Ritter's 2 at-bats today, because the free passes that he's been given, reached on error, reached on a walk, have sparked both of the scoring innings for Wichita State. On the other side, as Lungwitz has been out there, any free passes he's had, he's immediately turned down and buckled down and got out of the inning.
He'll face Aaron Funk, Easton Johnson, and Zach Cook. A couple lefties sandwiched around a righty as it goes 8-9-1 in the Mavericks order. And there is at least some milling about going down in the Shocker pen, just in case Lungwitz runs into trouble here in the 5th. It looks like it's Clayton McGinnis who is up and beginning to throw. But Connor will get a chance to make his way through the Mavericks order for a 3rd time. Funk tries to bunt his way on and dribbles it foul up the 3rd base line.
A pretty good litmus test for Connor Lungwitz as we begin to see the Arlington lineup for a 3rd time. He'll have that opportunity. He's retired 3 of the first 4 batters in each inning so far. And I think that becomes the key right now, making sure that leadoff man is out.
And a fair ball down the right field line by Funk. Chops it inside the bag, and that's going to be extra bases into the corner. Funk stumbled. Now he's going to head for 3 and will be in there with a head-first slide. Some hesitation all the way around as Dayton Duga had some trouble digging it out of the corner and right, and then stumbling around the second base bag was Funk, but he's in there safely with a leadoff triple.
No pun intended, but that was a funky play all the way around as that ball down the line, it didn't really look like it was going to be fair coming off the box. And then as Funk hits the first base bag, he knows he's cruising into second, but he puts on the brakes going into second, and then all of a sudden takes off and ends up at 3rd. Just a weird play.
A break that Texas Arlington has been sorely lacking through the first couple of games of this series. Easton Johnson now takes the strike.
On a team that does not slug the ball pretty consistently, they're not an extra base team by any stretch so far. That was kind of a odd way to get an extra base hit, just a slow bouncer that was perfectly placed. Kind of like the bloop double that they had yesterday.
And that was Funk as well. Johnson chases nothing in 2. That is now 7 triples for Texas Arlington, so that is the element of extra base power that they have. And as we mentioned, their home ballpark, notoriously difficult to hit home runs, so there's going to be a bit of a trade-off there.
Yeah, a lot of space, and that's kind of what that was, is took advantage of the space on the first base line.
0-2. Got him. Connor Lungwitz buckles down and strikes out Easton Johnson on 3 pitches for a big first out.
Well, he did it with a runner on 3rd back in the 2nd inning where he got the strikeout of Johnson. And Lungwitz comes back. This looks like a power pitch, fastball. Well, it had some sink to it, excuse me. But that was a good pitch, and it just kind of seemed like it overwhelmed Johnson.
Lungwitz has struck him out twice now. 2 of his 3 punch-outs on the afternoon. Back to the top for Zach Cook. You hate to belabor this point, but the 8, 9, and 1 spots for Texas Arlington are hitting 111, 133, and 148 with a 191 hitter on deck. These are guys you can go after. Cook 0 for 2, grounded to second, struck out swinging. 2-0.
Yeah, a lot of the power bunched in the middle of that lineup in the 3 through 6 spots, but Shockers have been, I'll say, extra careful with those spots in the order, especially with runners on. But Lungwitz did a great job against Johnson of being aggressive, and I think that's the same plan of attack that you have to have against Cook here.
Came right after him with a fastball, and Cook couldn't quite get around on it. 2 balls and a strike.
And the guy on deck, Williams, has had the most success today against Lungwitz with a couple of hard singles. So I don't think you're willing to just let Cook go and potentially set up a double play. Want to be aggressive here.
And he got in on the kitchen of Cook. Evens it up now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And how huge would this be if Connor Lungwitz could deliver back-to-back strikeouts to keep that man at third base?
That's what you're pitching for right here. Infield mostly back, with the exception of Bohm at third. So this is a very important pitch.
Into left field. Young on the run. He's going to make the catch. Tagging at third base and coming in to score is Funk. But a good job by Travis Young, who again is playing very shallow. Had to turn on the Jets and make the catch. It's now 3-1.
That's maybe the one trade-off you give there, because this ball is going to take Young away from home plate to the point where he's not going to have a chance to challenge the runner Funk at third. But again, wise to hold the throw, but a great job of getting back by Travis Young and making that catch.
So R.J. Williams bats with 2 outs and nobody aboard. The Mavericks slice into the lead as they get 1 run back, but I think Connor Lungwitz content to limit the damage if he can get through Williams. And he will. 1 hopper to the right side. O'Brien takes it to the bag himself, and the inning retired. Texas Arlington gets a run on the sacrifice fly from Zach Cook. We move to the bottom of the 5th. 3-1 Shockers on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Wichita State in front of Texas Arlington 3-1 into the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Mavericks getting on the board in the top half of this frame, courtesy of Zach Cook's sacrifice fly, but the Shockers will try and respond with the top of their order in the 5th. Travis Young, Grayson Genesta, and Alec Bohm coming to the plate against Trey Patterson.
We'll see if the Shockers can get the top of their lineup jump started. Genesta's 2 walks, but other than that, Young and Bohm have had a tough time picking up Trey Patterson today.
Travis 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Trying to get it started at the top of this order, and he watches a pitch run down and inside for ball 1.
That was kind of interesting. Young was barely in the box, and that ball was on its way to the plate.
Chopper fair and down the left field line. Young can fly. He's digging around first and will cruise into second with a stand-up double. So a high chopper benefits Texas Arlington in the top half of this inning, and it comes back to bite him in the bottom half.
Yeah, Young shows the Wichita State version of it. That ball just bounced right over the head of R.J. Williams. Here's your other look. Williams in, guarding against the bunt, and no shot to get that one. Perfectly placed right along the left field line, and the Shockers have the leadoff man aboard. And Young aboard for the first time in front of Genesta and Bohm.
Travis Young continues to be a doubles machine. A team-leading 6 for him already. We'll see how aggressive they are with Genesta with a base open. Came right after him. He lines it into left field. Cook slides and makes the catch. Made that into a bit of an adventure, but Zach Cook puts it away to retire Genesta for the first out.
Well, Zach Cook's proven to be a pretty good defender out in left field, both with the arm, and then he's able to flash the glove. That was quite a bit of an adventure in terms of the route there, but the ball kind of got knocked down, and he was able to make the catch.
That was a Google Maps route. In, right, left, turn around, make a U-turn. But he does make the catch, and if he didn't, if that bounces past him, It's at least 3 bases for Grayson Genista, so a big play there to keep Young still at second with 1 out. Alec Boehm, who has gotten a steady diet of that, breaking balls away in his first 2 plate appearances, takes ball 1.
You have to feel like Trey Patterson breathes a deep sigh of relief to be able to retire Genista on 1 pitch, though, after how careful he was the first 2 times against Grayson.
Have to keep an eye on Travis Young at second. He is 4 for 6 in steals so far this season. Was caught stealing in the 8th inning yesterday. And 2 balls and no strikes now to Boehm.
But if we said it once, we said it a few times with Genista, Boehm, Mason O'Brien, throw them into the category. When they're on base, when there's runners on base, they're in scoring position.
Patterson turns and looks Young back, but neither middle infielder flashed towards the bag at second, so Travis dives in without a throw. (2-0) downstairs. Imagine Alec has the green light on just about any 3-0 count. Will Trey Patterson give him anything to hit? (3-0) breaking ball, and it missed. Ball 4. So that is one of the ultimate signs of respect as a hitter. If you're getting 3-0 curveballs, and this one dipped low, and Alec Boehm aboard for the first time.
Well, you said it, Denny. You never know when Alec Boehm is going to be turned loose. And with the runner in scoring position, I think Trey Patterson was going to be comfortable using the open bag at first.
It's going to prompt a visit to the mound to chat with Patterson, who has now walked 4 and is closing in on 70 pitches. As Tim mentioned earlier, it's been pretty consistent for Patterson in terms of how long he goes through his first 3 starts. 5 innings, 5 2/3 innings, and 5 innings against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Stephen F. Austin, and Wright State. And has thrown 81, 75, and 84 pitches. So he is rapidly closing in on both the 5 innings and the 75-pitch mark. That has been kind of his benchmark through the first 3 starts of 2018.
Well, you've talked about how the Friday, Saturday, Sunday spots for the Shockers have not changed, and that Todd Butler and Mike Steele have stayed consistent with those 3 guys. Arlington has been willing to tinker, and they're giving the opportunity to Patterson to hold down the Sunday spot as well, but they're just looking for innings.
Mason O'Brien has flown out to left and flown out to center. First pitch swinging, taps it foul. Nobody up on a mound and throwing just yet for Texas Arlington. Meanwhile, down in the Wichita State pen, there is some activity brewing as Connor Lungwitz is through 5 innings of work. Ball and a strike now to O'Brien. A home run and 15 RBI for Mason so far this year. Junior college transfer from Cali after starting his college career at Oklahoma State.
Well, the RBI numbers are just outstanding because the guys that he's in the conversation with are Genista and Boehm.
High fly ball down the right field line. Funk tracking it towards the bullpen will run out of room.
But I say the comparison in terms of runs produced is so interesting because both Boehm and Genista have hit 5 home runs. O'Brien has done it just consistently with just 1 home run. And 4 of those RBIs did come on his home run. But other than that, he has found ways with runners on to produce runs. And he's been doing it very effectively here at X Stadium.
Well, he's got 2 runners on here with 1 out. And another spin from Patterson as Minjarez was toying with Travis Young out there at second, just trying to keep him close. Travis led off this inning with a chop double down the left field line. Genista lined out to left, and Boehm walked. 1-2. Muscled foul at the first base line.
It's almost like a giveaway on that pickoff play before for how deep that Arlington's been playing the middle infielders. Then all of a sudden they wind up about 2 feet away from Travis Young at second.
Now with runners on, that middle infield combo of Minhares and Johnson can't play nearly as deep as they had been with nobody on against O'Brien and Genesta. They are at a more traditional double play depth. Flown into left field by O'Brien right off the end of the bat. Cook makes the catch, 2 out.
A tip of cap to Patterson for working around the double to this point. He gets Genesta, he's careful with Bohm, and then he gets O'Brien to pop out. This is a pitch away. O'Brien puts the right swing on it, just kind of got underneath it. And we've talked about it ad nauseum, but with this win, that ball is not going anywhere to left field.
It was a good sequence from Patterson to the left-hand hitting O'Brien. Basically said, if you want to hit something to left field, try your best. Luke Ritter, chopper to Minhares. He'll have to hurry. Throws low, and it's dug out over there by Salinas. He throws home for some reason, but that's 3 outs, and Wichita State comes up empty in the bottom of the 5th. To the 6th, 3-1 Shockers on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
So the afternoon is done for Connor Lungwitz. Wichita State Sunday's starter gives the Shockers an excellent outing. 5 innings. He allows just 4 hits and the 1 earned run. 3 strikeouts and a walk for Connor over the course of his 67-pitch outing. And Todd Butler hands the baseball to redshirt freshman left-hander Alex Siegel, who has looked very good through his first 3 outings, 5 1/3 total innings, allowed just 2 hits and 1 run, with 9 strikeouts so far this season.
Coming off his best outing of the year on Tuesday against Edwardsville, 3 innings, 5 strikeouts. You see the numbers there, 9 strikeouts to 5 1/3. And a good spot to come in, too, because you're going to see Noah Vaughn and Will Olson, the 2 best lefty hitters in this Arlington lineup. So good test for Siegel as well. But, hey, you got to tip your cap to Connor Lungwitz today. Gets through 5 innings pretty much unscathed, worked around that odd triple. He does surrender the run, but other than that, he was very solid, very good.
Lungwitz in line for his 2nd victory of the season if the Shocker bullpen can hold on, and Siegel will get the first chance to do so. Noah Vaughn 0 for 2 against Lungwitz, popped out to second, grounded into a 3-6-3 double play. And he takes strike 1 from Alex Siegel, whose last outing here at X Stadium was dominant. On Tuesday against SIU Edwardsville, 3 scoreless innings, did not allow a hit, and struck out 5.
And he's one of a few arms that the Shockers coaching staff are very excited about the potential of what he's able to do, and he's starting to really grow into that role now that he's at 100% this year.
Gets Vaughn to sky it to the left side. This could be an adventure. Jordan Boyer, a long run, slides and can't make the catch in foul territory. A little surprised that Alec Bohm got out of the way. He was far closer to that, but Boyer must have called him off. And then at that point, just had to hang on for dear life as the ball twisted away from him.
Well, this one got up there. Boyer coming basically from center field, and he immediately calls it off. And Bohm gives away. The easiest thing there, right, is because it's the shortstop who has priority, he's coming downhill a little bit more than the third baseman is. But the way that one ended up, you feel like Bohm would have had a natural enough route if he had just been able to stay with it.
So new life for Vaughn. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Alex Siegel records the strikeout and a good start to his outing.
Siegel says no worries about the pop-up. Is that odd speed pitch looked like a slider, just devastating, sweeping away from the lefty Noah Vaughn. We're seeing more punch-out stuff from Siegel. Here's another look. That just wipe-out pitch.
Might have just been a fastball with some good cutting movement. Hard to say, but whatever it was, nasty in a left-on-left situation. Here's Christian Holly. The Shocker bullpen, and we highlighted this at the beginning on Friday, has been striking out hitters at just a prodigious rate throughout the early portions of this 2018 season. And you can pretty much pick any name down there, and they'll have more than a strikeout per inning.
Well, Siegel is a guy, specifically, he looks like he could be a starter. I mean, he has that kind of stuff. And he is a couple of pitches that he can throw up out there that can be used as put-away pitches.
Check swing. Holly went around. Back-to-back strikeouts, and Alex Siegel picking up right where he left off.
Well, case in point, whether it was a cut fastball or a slider that put away Vaughn, or even just a straight fastball, this is a lot more drop to it. And Christian Holly, the right-hander, is going to have to deal with the bottom falling out of it just right into the glove of Troutwine, who buries it.
So left-hand hitting Will Olson faced with a tough task. 0 for 1 with a walk and a fly out to center, and Siegel was in the driver's seat. Olson gesturing that he thought that pitch was away. Might want to be careful if you're a catcher showing up the umpire with any kind of hand gestures like that. And hit him. Siegel tries to front door breaking ball, and it never quite came back around as Olson reaches on the 2-out plunking.
Yeah, tried to work both sides after going away. Tried to set up something inside, probably with the idea of going back away, but breaking ball never did make it back to the inside part of the plate. Actually, it looked like Troutwine was set up away. Just might have missed the spot and lost the grip on it a bit.
It's bound to happen on a cold afternoon like this. Keeping tactile feel for the baseball can be a challenge. Siegel throws a strike to Omar Salinas, 0-1. A little surprised we haven't seen more of that, to be honest with you. Breaking balls just slipping out of the hand. You can start to lose feeling in your fingers when you're out there for extended periods of time. Salinas 1 for 2 so far today. Single and a fly out to left. Wind really picking up now. Popped up, foul territory. Might come back to Bohm. Looks like it's not going to, as it will reach the seats. No balls and 2 strikes, and Alex Siegel with a chance to finish the 6th inning with a flurry. There's a look at the flag. It's been gusting like that pretty consistently throughout the day, but has picked up at times with gusts as high as 25 and 30 miles an hour. 0-2 down and away. Runner trying to go now stops and will head back to first. He's going to be in there safely as Will Olson got about halfway towards second base on a ball that Troutwine picked cleanly, and nearly disaster for the Mavericks.
Well, we've seen runners this year already try and read down angle against Gunnar Troutwine to their demise. This time, Olson was able to adjust quickly enough as he knew he was beat from the moment Troutwine popped up with it.
1-2. Got him swinging. Alex Siegel strikes out the side around the 2-out hit by pitch, and another 0 tossed up by Shocker relievers. To the bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Dayton Duga, Josh DeBacker, Gunnar Troutwine, the scheduled hitters due up for Wichita State as we move into the bottom half of the sixth. And if we don't get a chance to talk about Alex Siegel anymore this afternoon, what a fantastic showing for him in the top of this inning. 3 more strikeouts for the big lefty.
Well, we might get to see him, but he is just electric right now. I mean, that stuff, and we've talked about the power arms in terms of the velocity, but that's a power arm in terms of the breaking stuff. Just plain filthy.
Dayton Duga, first pitch swinging. Well, looper is going to find center field. And Dayton Duga has now swung at the first pitch 3 times, and he's got himself 3 singles to show for it.
Well, you got to love the approach. He's found something that's worked today, and Duga, another line drive base hit. This one back up the box, a little bit more pulled than his first 2. But, man, Duga 3 for 3, and he puts the pressure immediately on Trey Patterson.
Well, it also creates a potential bunting situation again for Josh DeBacker, who came off the Shocker bench to do just that in the 4th. Runners on the move, and DeBacker slashes it just foul up the left field line. So Wichita State tries a hit and run, and a few feet to the right, that may have been trouble.
An opportunity for DeBacker to get turned loose, and I think he's been asked to bunt so much in this series. He's uber aggressive and almost turned that into an extra base hit.
Well, I like it a lot just because they had Texas Arlington expecting a bunt. Williams was tight to the bag at third, had a couple infielders on the move. Doesn't square and takes a ball. Small sample size alert, but Dayton Duga has now raised his average from 209 entering plate today to 261 with the 3 hits. That's what early season averages can do. Up more than 50 points over the course of an afternoon.
And he's done it today by being uber aggressive.
Ball and a strike on Josh DeBacker. Looking for his first base hit of the season. He'll have to do it from a 2-strike count. Duga 3 for 3 in stolen bases this year, but he has been picked off a couple of times. Pretty small lead on at first base. A big insurance run, though, with Wichita State in front 3-1, but by no means a comfortable advantage. And DeBacker down on strikes as he waves through a changeup.
Well, this is Patterson doing his best version of buckling down after the leadoff single. This is a pitch off the plate away. A lot of break, never does come back. And gets DeBacker to swing through it.
Gunnar Troutwine. Strikeout his first time up, but then the game's biggest hit. A 2-run single with runners at second and third and 1 out in the 4th. First time in a while that he is not batting with second and third and 1 out. He's done that in each of his last 3 plate appearances.
Well, at the time, you might have not thought anything of it other than, hey, kind of similar to the play last night, but how large does that hit loom right now after the response that Arlington had in the top half of the 5th inning?
Trey Patterson immediately checking on Dayton Dugas with 3 straight moves over. Patterson has been more than happy to slow the game to a crawl with runners aboard, which is interesting because he works rather quickly out of the full windup with no runners on. He has a good tempo, good pace, gets it and goes. But has slowed things down dramatically with runners aboard.
Well, the one benefit that you have even with guys who don't run is you're trying to keep them flat-footed, right? You're trying to keep them moving back towards the bag in case you do induce that ground ball, that double play. And I'll tell you what, he seems concerned about that every time there's a guy on.
Troutwine takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2. Double barrel action down in the Texas Arlington pen. Dylan Schneider is the right-hander loosening as Patterson now up over 80 pitches.
Well, this is kind of the sweet spot that you mentioned, Denning, of Patterson has been into the 6th, and really each of his starts are getting his team into the 6th.
Troutwine stays alive, 0-2. Sammy Esposito, gloves and fires. Sometimes third base coaches want nothing to do with any ground ball hit in their general direction, and others will go out of their way to make a play. On a cold day like today, wouldn't be surprised if any coach fell into the former category, but Esposito makes the play there. Back up the middle by Troutwine, under the glove of Johnson and on into center field, a base hit. Dugas stops at second, but Gunnar Troutwine keeping that middle away approach, and it pays off for him again.
Yeah, exactly. Right back up the box again, this time on the ground for Troutwine, and somehow that got through a bunch of gloves and a bunch of legs. Here's the look again through the legs of Patterson, and I think his little dance move might have made it that much more difficult for Johnson to even see it. That was not routine by any stretch of the imagination for Easton Johnson.
Jordan Boyer now. Check swing, foul back to the screen. Watch out, Travis Young, just a few feet to his left. If Johnson gloves that cleanly, it's almost definitely an inning-ending double play. It was taking him right to the second base bag, was hit sharply, and Troutwine doesn't run well.
Yeah, absolutely. With the firmness of it, you felt like that definitely had the makings of a double play, but had some funk to it. Everything that Troutwine has hit in this series has like peeled off towards right center, but it has started back up the bag. It's the natural cut, and I think that has a lot to do with him keeping his hands inside the ball. And also you feel like he's just tagging baseballs right now.
He has hit a lot of balls well and right on the barrel. Jordan Boyer now ahead 2-1. Dugas at second, Troutwine on in first. Wichita State trying to stretch out this 3-1 lead, trying to sweep a series and improve to 12-2 with a victory this afternoon. They've got a big week coming up. On the road to Missouri in the midweek, and then up to TD Ameritrade Park in Nebraska for a 3-game set with the Creighton Blue Jays. 2-2 now on Boyer.
Well, they've taken advantage of the home cooking here in the last 2 weeks. I guess last 3 weekends if you go back to Omaha, the series against Omaha. And it does become very important to see how the Shockers will play against a tough road schedule.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Trey Patterson has come up with some big pitches when he's needed them, and he gets Jordan Boyer with the second out here in the 6th.
Well, the bottom half of the lineup has done most of the damage for the Shockers tonight. They've produced all the runs, but Jordan Boyer, who came in, he was the guy we featured at the beginning of the game because of how hot he was, and Patterson is keyed in on him and come up with some big outs when he has needed them. Now 3 straight times against Boyer.
6 strikeouts on the afternoon for Patterson. Travis Young Checks a swing on a breaking ball away. Travis struck out his first 2 times up, then chopped a double just inside the left field line in the 5th.
Patterson doubled his strikeout total in this game. He came in with 6 strikeouts on the season.
Got to think he's right near the end of his rope. Again, hadn't thrown more than 84 pitches in a start this year. Young into right field, but it's pretty much right at Funk, who makes the catch. And the Shockers strand 2 runners. To the 7th, 3-1 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee. Steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Well, we will get a chance to keep talking about Alex Siegel as he comes back out for the 7th, trying to protect this 3-1 Wichita State lead. He struck out the side in the 6th with a 2-out hit by pitch mixed in there, and now faces the bottom 3 hitters in the Texas Arlington order. Attention Shocker fans, want to shop the largest selection of Shocker merchandise at the official store of Wichita State University. The University Bookstore is located on the 1st floor of the Radigan Student Center on the campus of WSU, or online 24/7 at WSUBooks.com. Find everything you need for every generation of Shocker Nation. The University Bookstore, the place to shop. Josh Minjarez has laid down a sacrifice bunt and lined a bullet back to the mound that Connor Lungwitz was able to spear to end the 4th. And Siegel throws ball 1 to start this top of the 7th inning. Just a run on 4 hits so far for Texas Arlington.
Well, they've had a few more opportunities today than in either of the first 2 games. Of course, Friday night they were able to push across a couple of runs early. But they've still missed the big hit. They got it back in the 5th on that triple. They're just a team that has not really slugged consistently, not been able to string together the hits in a timely fashion.
Siegel down the count 3-1. It's been a case where it seems like most of the scoring rallies for Texas Arlington have required a little bit of good fortune, whether it was yesterday with the ball lost in the sun by Genesta that led to their run, or just a chopping ground ball that stayed just inside the first base bag to start their rally back in the 5th as Siegel throws a strike. 3-2.
Well, they're looking for base runners. You see Minjarez 3-1 count. He was looking for the walk.
And he'll get the walk as Siegel misses down with a fastball. A leadoff man aboard for the Mavericks here in the 7th. We'll set up a left-on-left matchup for Siegel as Aaron Funk comes to the plate. He was the man who chopped that triple just inside the first base bag down into the right field corner back in the 5th and came around to score the lone UTA run. Nobody throwing in the Wichita State pen, so this is Alex Siegel's 7th inning. Almost hit him.
It's slightly erratic with the command at times. Ball slipped out of his hand when he hit Olsen back in the 6th. The one blemish besides the strikeouts there, and then kind of struggled to find control against Minjares at first at bat.
Fouled back by Aaron Funk. 1 ball and 1 strike. 6'1", 195-pound junior from Mansfield, Texas. Two balls and a strike.
Was trying to be fine, and that's something that can be okay, especially when you do have the command, but he's looking for the ground ball right now. And with Funk, who's taking some very healthy swings, trying to get him to top one.
Well, he does top it back towards the padded backstop, and now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mike got a piece of the foot.
Seemed to be a theme in this series. See Funk, 2-strike approach, old school 2-strike approach there. Choking up about 1 inch on the bat. And try and put something in play.
Not a bad idea against Siegel. And he's going to run it full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that sets up a very important pitch, as now some activity gets going down the Wichita State pen. Last thing Siegel wants to do is allow the 7 and 8 hitters to reach without putting a ball in play. We'll see how aggressive UTA wants to get. Will they put Minjares in motion? No, but it doesn't matter. Ball 4, as Alex Siegel has put the first 2 men on with walks here in the 7th.
Well, then you talked about it earlier, in this bottom third of the Mavericks lineup is looking for any sort of way to get on base, and as Alex Siegel wants to do, you want to avoid that completely. You want to force them to be the aggressors, force them to put a ball in play. But I have to imagine, even with the pinch hitter here, that you have an opportunity to get the tying run in scoring position. I don't see how they do anything but put the bunt down.
Phil Berthume coming off the bench to bat for Texas Arlington here in the 7th. He started on Friday in right field and did not have a great evening. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts before he was lifted for a pinch hitter. So a chance for Berthume to make amends. Batting with Minjares at second, Funk at first, and nobody out.
Well, Berthume a good hitter, so maybe that's the option there if they're going to turn him free, but it doesn't look like they will.
Squares early and pulls the bat back and takes ball 1.
I think that was the idea. Get the Shockers thinking bunt and let a guy who's hit the ball pretty well most of the season get an opportunity.
And it may have just been wanted to show something and force Siegel to throw a strike. Doesn't square at all this time and takes high. Berthume takes over for Easton Johnson, who was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Not sure what the defensive changes will be in the subsequent half inning. As Berthume is an outfielder, Easton Johnson was at second base.
Butler might have seen enough.
Butler out of the first base dugout with Clayton McGinnis ready in the right field line. And we will see if this is the end for Alex Siegel, who looked so good in the 6th, but has run into trouble of his own making here in the 7th. And Todd Butler has signaled to the bullpen. We'll tell you about the new Shocker arm when we return. 3-1 Wichita State on WSUTV.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Alex Siegel with a couple of walks and a 2-0 count to a pinch hitter has prompted a move to the bullpen, and Todd Butler is going to call upon Chandler Sandburn, who worked a scoreless 8th inning yesterday and has seen that ERA continue to dwindle down. It's all the way down to 4 with 17 strikeouts in just 9 innings of work so far this season. He's kind of been the fireman for Wichita State so far this year.
Exactly. He's been called to put out the fires, and you see the power numbers. He's 3rd on the team in strikeouts in less than half of the innings of the other 2 guys who are ahead of him. He's got the power stuff. You love the ground ball, but you also know that you can get the strikeout. And it's an interesting matchup if you're going after Berthume, who struck out against the power fastball in his at-bats on Friday night, but that was the power fastball of Cody Hoyer. But it's the idea that the Shockers are going for, and Sandburn inherits the 2-0 count, but this is a big situation. A high leverage situation for Arlington.
So as good as Alex Siegel looked in the 6th, 2 walks and now a 2-0 count inherited by Sandburn. Threw just 12 pitches yesterday, so should be rested enough to at the very least get through this 7th. Berthume will dig back in. He showed bunt on the first pitch, pulled it back, and then had no indication of squaring around on the second offering. We'll see what this 3rd pitch holds. And he did square. Sandburn made an inside move to second, and so maybe Berthume tipping the hand just a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see them just go for the bunt now.
Potential tying run on first, potential go-ahead run at the plate.
What it's done is it moved Mason O'Brien, at the very least for Arlington, it moved Mason O'Brien, who was playing behind the runner at first, Funk, and he's now in front of the bag and in front of the runner.
2-0. Berthume squares and takes ball 3. Sandburn with just 4 walks in his first 9 innings so far. And 3 of those came in his first 3 outings. He's been excellent as of late. But this is a jam. 3-0. Berthume squares, pulls it back and takes a strike. Now things get really interesting. Will Berthume be laying down a bunt on a 3-1 count? Will he force Sandburn to throw another strike? Will they pull the bunt back and swing away? It's about everything on the table here.
Well, especially when you're Arlington looking for ways to maximize this bottom third of the lineup.
Takes ball 4. So Wichita State, no one to blame but themselves for this 7th inning. 3 straight walks to the 7, 8, and 9 hitters has presented quite the situation as Chandler Sandburn now heads back to the top for Zach Cook, who is 0 for 2 with a ground out to second, a strikeout swing, and a sacrifice fly his last time up.
The walk becomes Siegel's responsibility because he threw the first 2 balls, but I tell you what, the Shockers aren't as concerned about that as they are about getting out of this inning.
Cook into center field. That's going to be down for a base hit. 1 run scores. They're going to hold the other runner at third, but it's a 3-2 game. Everybody up 90 feet.
Well, Arlington coming out being aggressive and 3 free passes. A bad recipe for the Shocker bullpen. And Cook finds a pitch knowing that Sandburn was trying to get ahead. And simple approach sends it back up the middle. This one getting even dicier.
So now the potential tying run just 90 feet away. Still nobody out. And R.J. Williams to the plate. A couple singles and a ground out to first against the starter Connor Lungwitz. Sandburn misses down with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Funk, the runner at third, Berthume at second, Cook at first. All have pretty good speed. Up the middle again. Boyer behind the bags, got it to second for one. On to first, not going to be in time. And Texas Arlington ties it on the fielder's choice ground out, but that very well could have snuck up the middle and given the Mavericks the lead.
Well, that's a very important out number one for the Shockers, even though this game is now tied, as that ball looked like it was going into center field off the bat, and Boyer able to get the out at second. Ritter almost with a fantastic turn there.
So it keeps the double play in order. The Mavericks have tied the game at 3. The go-ahead run is at third base in the form of Berthume, and the batter is Noah Vaughn. 0 for 3 so far today, but 3 hits already in this series. Sandburn starts him with a strike. And the throw back from Troutwine got away briefly, but Boyer, staying alert, backs it up, prevents the advance.
Well, all the little things that the Shockers had done well in this series have kind of started to slip away here in the 7th inning. 3 free passes, falling behind hitters, and then just kind of a mental mistake.
Checks on R.J. Williams, who again is 1 for 1 in stolen bases so far this year. Part of you thinks Texas Arlington may want to stay out of the double play and put Williams in motion, but also you got probably your best pound-for-pound hitter up there in Vaughn. And he chased a high fastball, 0-2.
Now, 2-strike situation. You certainly don't want to run yourself out of the inning.
Yeah, Vaughn strikes out too much now, you would think, to risk putting Williams in motion. Unless you can pick on a breaking ball to run on here on 0-2. Not going. And Sandburn tries the fastball away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Shockers will have the good part of their order due up in the bottom half of this inning. It'll be Jennings to Bohm and O'Brien. But this has got to leave a sour taste in the mouth, essentially handing 2 runs to Texas Arlington. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball down, gets Vaughn to chase it, and Chandler Sandburn gets a huge second out.
Ginormous, gigantic, massive. Any word that you want to use to describe big, that's how important that out is of Vaughn. And a great job by Troutwine to keep that from going through the wickets. That is a big, big, big out number 2.
So it comes down to Christian Holly. 0 for 3, has reached on an error, bounced to short and struck out. Again, this inning started with 3 walks and a single. And Sandburn drops a hammer that has Holly way out in front, 0-1.
Well, free passes are brutal. Stressful on the defense. Taxing on the pitch count.
To the left side, a base hit. Christian Holly comes through with 2 outs, and Texas Arlington has the lead at 4-3 here in the top of the 7th.
And the other thing, it allows hitters even on the bench to pick up a pitcher, see more pitches. And Christian Holly gets a pitch that he can handle, drives it through the left side, and for the first time since Friday night, Arlington has a lead.
So all 3 of those walks come home to roost. And the Shockers not out of the woods yet. Still 2 men aboard. Will Olson will be the batter.
Incredible what that does to the line of Alex Siegel.
Olson, first pitch swinging, left center field. Coming on, Young slides and hung on. Travis Young prevents further damage with a great sliding catch in shallow left center field. but Texas Arlington with a 3-spot in the 7th to take a 4-3 lead. We'll stretch them out. You're watching on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
The game that Wichita State had controlled through the first 6 innings has taken a 180-degree turn as Texas Arlington puts up 3 runs in the top half of the 7th, forcing Wichita State to rally. They now trail by the score of 4-3 as the Mavericks make a call to the bullpen, and they'll bring on left-hander Ryan Buss, 6'3", 215-pound senior from Dallas, Texas, transfer from Navarro Junior College, 1-0 in 3 appearances so far this year, 3.38 the ERA, 5 1/3 innings of work, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks for the southpaw. He'll have 2 southpaws to work to in the 7th inning. It's Genesta, Bohm, and O'Brien due up. Left, right, left for Wichita State. Suddenly put into a position they haven't been since early in the game on Friday, and that is facing a deficit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it speaks to Trey Patterson and just the ability to stick around in a ball game. He has perhaps his best start of the year, and that allows his offense to hang around, and all of a sudden he exits in line for the win. But you're right, the Shockers haven't had to trade punches a whole lot lately, so this will be a good test for Wichita State's offense.
A couple defensive changes for the Mavericks here in this bottom of the 7th inning as the left fielder Cook slides to second base for the replaced Easton Johnson, and Phil Berthume, who came on to pinch hit, takes over in left, in addition to Buss taking over on the mound. And his first one to Grayson Genesta is down and away for ball 1. Final line for Trey Patterson, 6 innings of work. He allows 7 hits and 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, 6 strikeouts and 4 walks through 91 pitches over those 6 innings. Genesta shows bunt, takes ball 2. He walked twice against Patterson, also lined out to left his last time up.
I love the idea, at least showing bunt with the extreme shift. If they're going to play the third baseman practically at shortstop, force him to defend that third base line.
Vicious swing by Genesta, and he fouls it back our way. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
They feel like one of the biggest keys for Wichita State, they got to get some sort of answer to that big 7th inning from the Mavericks.
Foul back. As Tim noted, all 3 of those runs end up being charged to Siegel. Even though it was Sandburn who handed out the 3rd walk, he inherited a 2-0 count. So those 3 runs will do some damage to Alex Siegel's previously sparkling ERA. Also puts him in line for the loss. Strike 3 called. Genesta down looking for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, Buss hits his spot, and that's why he's going to get the call, but I think Genesta felt that ball was away. But again, you get into the importance of a 2-strike count. This ball looks like it's quite a bit out.
Probably not a strike, but Grayson Genesta put in a position with 2 strikes where you're told to swing at anything close. Hard to fault him for not offering at that pitch, which was well off the plate away. Alec Bohm will start it by taking a strike.
Ben Harlow's strike zone today has gotten some groans from both sides because he has really been focused on, I would say, out in front. And you're looking at where the ball crosses the plate, right? But I think it's hard to believe that the ball will move the 3 feet to the catcher and have some of the extreme results that we've seen. But that's where everybody's frustrated, right? Everybody's eyes go to the catcher. And I think Ben Harlow is trying to pick it up out in front of the plate.
Alec Boehm 0 for 2 with a walk today. 1-2.
Bus coming out and doing what you want your bullpen to do, and that is being aggressive and throwing strikes, getting ahead of the Wichita State big bats.
One of the more dependable arms so far in the early going for Texas Arlington has been Bus. Just missed with a fastball down as Boehm had a notion and lays off.
I love Boehm. He regroups. That strikeout that he had in the third inning, couple balls called down, but he's got a very good sense for his zone and his long frame.
That's strike 3 called on the outside edge. Boehm can't believe it, but back-to-back strikeouts looking of Genesta and Boehm here in the 7th.
Well, we're going to see this again, and I think where the frustration is going to come is Todd Butler is walking out towards home plate. This ball is out, and again, that ball never really even threatened, but you have the umpire on the inside part of the plate. And that's part of what's deceptive is he's having to try and see that outside part of the plate.
Todd Butler hanging out near the on-deck circle right now next to Mason O'Brien, but doing all the talking to Ben Harlow, who took out his scorecard and wrote something down, and Todd Butler just got run from this game. What an awkward interchange this was, as Butler never got up in the face of Harlow, stayed over near the on-deck circle and jawed with him, and now he is really going to get his money's worth.
I think we saw both of those, and the first one to Genesta, you almost give Harlow the benefit of the doubt because of the way it moved. But I think the frustrating part for Butler is that wasn't even a similar pitch. It was the completely other side of the plate, and you get to a point where the frustrations boil over. And now at this point, I think Todd Butler is just expressing all of those frustrations.
Bill McGuire, the first base umpire, was trying to separate them. But Todd Butler is going to let them know how he feels before he makes his way off the X-Stadium turf. This is a coach right now trying to stand up for his players after 2 calls that he believed did not go the Shockers' way.
We're going to see pitch to Boehm again. You're not going to get the angle here other than to see the catcher Olsen reach across his body when he's already set up out. The height you can see, the height was about knee high. But I think to your point, Denning, part of the job of Butler right now after the momentum has shifted to Arlington because of that 7th inning is to light a fire under his guys. Now somebody's got to respond and get the offense going. Here's the look straight on, and you see how far out that is. That ball never threatens the corner of the plate. In fact, you can tell because of how thick the batter's box is, you can see that ball is directly over the left-handed batter's box. And with the left-handed arm, you know that it didn't move that way. It stayed out there the whole time.
So first ejection of 2018 for Todd Butler. And Mason O'Brien will try and start a rally with 2 outs and nobody aboard. Swinging first pitch and pounds it into the air down the right field line. Foul territory, and it comes back for the second baseman Cook, who makes the catch. So the 2, 3, and 4 hitters go quietly for Wichita State in the 7th. On to the 8th. It's 4-3 UTA on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Chandler Sanborn tasked with holding it right where it is. The Shockers, after leading this game at one point 3-0, now find themselves facing a 4-3 deficit. 3 big Maverick runs in the 7th, and now they will send up the 6, 7, and 8 hitters against Sanborn. Salinas, Minjarez, and Funk coming to the plate. And what has been an adventurous last inning plus. 3 runs due to 3 straight walks handed out by Wichita State in the top of the 7th, and then 2 strikeouts looking, leading to the ejection of Shocker head coach Todd Butler in the bottom of the 7th. As this game has gotten interesting in the later stages, it is Salinas to start it here in the 8th.
Well, Sanborn's role becomes very important here because the Shockers need a shutdown inning, and they need some sort of momentum, some sort of boost heading back into the bottom half.
Salinas 1 for 3, has singled, flown out to left, and struck out. Sanborn, again, was not charged with any of those 3 runs in the 7th. Allowed a couple of singles that brought home runs, but also got a strikeout, a fielder's choice, and a flyout. Didn't talk much, too, about the great play by Travis Young in the gap in left center field to end that 7th inning. Will Olson with a little flare with 2 on and 2 out, and if that falls in, it's at least 5-3, if not more.
Yeah, that was much needed. And that was a big escape to what was an inning that just seemed to spiral out of control.
Sanborn tries to bounce a breaking ball, and Salinas has to kick his feet out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the UTA first baseman. Mavericks will have a Tuesday midweek at Texas A&M coming up, then a midweek game at home against Minnesota later this week. Little fister to the right side. Easy for Luke Ritter on a couple of hops. 1 up and 1 down. Mavericks then open up Sunbelt play this next weekend with a home series against Georgia State. Shockers will have their final non-conference weekend series again against Creighton. As you see, Sanborn got really in on the left-hand hitting Salinas, got the weak contact. Josh Minjarez. Only 1 official at-bat so far today, and that was his line out back to the mound. Otherwise, he's laid down a sacrifice bunt and then started that 3-run rally by drawing a walk. Check swing, 1 hopper, Boyer behind the bag. Nice play. Takes care of Minjarez, 2 out.
Well, that ball really slowed down after it crossed the mound. Off the bat, it looked like it might have been hit a little bit firmer, but that allows Boyer to get around it. You see it just
what an odd play.
Eat up by the turf. Boyer makes the play.
Don't see many check swing line drives. It just didn't quite have the oomph to sneak up the middle. Good range by Boyer, setting his feet to make the throw. Aaron Funk has been a thorn in the Shocker side down at the bottom part of the order. Has scored 2 of the 4 runs for Texas Arlington today, reaching on a triple and a walk. He's also grounded out to short.
Well, a lot of times when you feel like you keep the top half of a lineup in check, you feel pretty good about the day. But both teams today have let some advance towards the bottom of the bottom half slip away.
And he's going to be on again. This time a hit by pitch as Chandler Sanborn runs a fastball in. Looked like it just clipped him on the leg. And a 2-out hit by pitch for the 2nd time this afternoon. So Funk aboard at first, and looks like that's going to be all for Chandler Sanborn as Mike Steele has made the move to the bullpen, and the Shockers will call upon right-hander Clayton McGinnis. We'll tell you all about him when we return. 4-3 UTA our score on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Two out hit by pitch means the end for Chandler Sanborn as Mike Steele calls upon right-hander Clayton McGinnis to face Phil Berthume. And McGinnis, so far this season, has been very busy. You can see already 8 appearances for the right-hander. His last outing against Oral Roberts, the first time that he has gone multiple innings since all the way back in late February, but struck out 4 over 2 scoreless frames, has the ERA down to 3.38. He's been very good for the Shockers so far this year.
When he jumped up the punch-out party with 4 strikeouts against Oral Roberts in the midweek, but he's called upon here to just get the Shockers to the bottom of the 8th inning right now. And I think Wichita State feeling like they saw one inning slip away back in the 7th and not willing to let McGinnis have to inherit more of a mess. As Samber did a good job getting the first 2 outs of the 8th, but now McGinnis to get out of the inning.
Facing Phil Berthume, came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th, and I think was initially tasked with laying down a sacrifice bunt, but ended up walking on 5 pitches and eventually came around to score. Now in the game in left field as Cook slid from left to second. And McGinnis hits him. First pitch breaking ball drills Berthume back-to-back hit batters. And a repeat of the 7th inning for Wichita State, handing out free passes and getting back to the top of the order for Zach Cook.
Yeah, the free passes are piling up, and you're going to see this a breaking ball that never really broke. Just hung out and hit Berthume in the backside. But you look at 4 walks by Wichita State to go now with the 3rd hit batter of the game. 7 free passes in all. That is not a recipe for success.
After no walks yesterday. McGinnis throws a strike to Zach Cook, who delivered an RBI single his last time up. He's also driven in a run with a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, he's been good today. Numbers maybe a little deceptive in that, but big RBI hit in the 7th that really jump-started that inning after the 3 walks.
McGinnis misses high with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shockers will send 5, 6, and 7 to the plate in the bottom of the 8th. The Texas Arlington bullpen has been busy. There's been several different arms warming. A righty is up and throwing right now. Good breaking ball from McGinnis. He's ahead 1-2. Ryan Buss worked a 1-2-3 7th. Got 2 lefties out. We'll see if he stays on for the 8th or if Darren Thomas wants to make a move, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Clayton McGinnis strikes out Zach Cook and gets the Shockers out of trouble in the top of the 8th. To the bottom half we go. Shockers need a rally. 4-3 UTA on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Clayton McGinnis getting Wichita State out of a 2-on, 2-out jam in the top of the 8th inning by striking out Zach Cook. And he'll get Luke Ritter, Dayton Dugas, and Josh DeBacker 5, 6, and 7 to the plate for the Shockers here in the bottom of the 8th, needing a rally as they trail the UTA Mavericks by the score of 4-3. The upcoming schedule for Wichita State looks like this. As we mentioned, a midweek road game in Columbia against the Missouri Tigers, who have gotten off to a great start this year. And then its former Missouri Valley rival Creighton for 3 games, March 16th through the 18th, before the Shockers are back at X Stadium on March 20th, welcoming in the Oklahoma Sooners. For now, though, their focus on Texas Arlington and trying to sweep this series. We'll see if Luke Ritter can get this rally started. He has reached on an error and a walk, has also grounded out to short. Ryan Buss is back out there for another inning of work. He took advantage of a somewhat generous strike zone to record a couple of punch outs and a pop out in a 1-2-3 7th.
Well, so important for the Shockers to get something going, get the leadoff man aboard. And Ritter is a perfect candidate for that.
He'll have to battle down 1-2.
He has started both of the scoring innings for Wichita State today. This has been the part of the lineup that has had the most success for the Shockers. But now having to do it against the lefty Buzz.
Down, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Shockers have plenty of options on their bench if they want to play matchups in these last couple of innings. Plenty of left-handed bats available should UTA go to a righty. Swing and a miss. Luke Ritter down on strikes. 1 up and 1 down for Wichita State in the 8th.
Well, the Arlington pitching staff today, between Patterson and Bush, have come with the strikeout stuff. This is the 3rd strikeout for Buss, and outside away, Ritter trying to protect, cannot.
Been a pretty simple plan so far for Dayton Dugas. Swing at the first pitch and get a hit. He's done it 3 times. Doesn't have to this time as a breaking ball nowhere close. But Dayton has raised the average all the way up to 261 at last check after entering play at 209. And a guy who could definitely tie this game with 1 swing. Flares it foul.
Well, that's how you stop him from hitting the first pitch. Just throw it 12 feet out of the strike zone.
Reminds you of when Alcides Escobar was swinging at the first pitch of every game for Kansas City, and Noah Syndergaard just threw one up and in on him in the World Series. Not quite so severe from Ryan Buss. But Dayton now ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, looking for a spark. It's been pretty quiet since that 4th inning for the Shockers. They had something brewing in the 5th, but for the most part, Patterson and then Buss have settled down.
Dugas up the middle. 4 hits for Dayton Dugas, and he's going to be aboard with 1 out here in the 8th.
Well, that's just a complete at bat from Dayton Dugas as he battles, and he's able to dribble this one back up the box. We talked about first pitch hitting, but he has approached it up the middle as well.
And now the Shockers are going to fire Trey Vickers. They are going to call him off the bench to pinch hit. He'll take over for Josh DeBacker, who laid down a sacrifice bunt and struck out in his 2 trips. Hunter Gibson originally started as the DH and had an RBI single in his lone plate appearance. But now it is Vickers. Started on Friday night and had quite the debut. 3 hits, including a home run. Did not play yesterday, though.
Well, this is a nice weapon to be able to have at your disposal. Shockers have been patient in allowing Vickers to make his debut, but what a debut it was Friday night. A 3-hit performance, as you mentioned, inning, and that home run certainly showing that the swing and the power are still there.
Well, he's ahead 2 balls and no strikes. I'd be interested to see if he ends up reaching base, whether the Shockers want him to run the bases. They do have Alex Jackson still available on the bench. Still a lot to be decided before that becomes an issue. 2-0 from Buss. Swing and a miss. Ooh, a fastball right by him. 2-1.
He's looking for a ball up to drive there. I think he just undercut it a tad.
Duga, as we mentioned, has good speed on at first. Tough to get a read on this lefty, though. Vickers into right center field, tailing away. That ball's going to get down and plug the gap. Duga heading towards third, and now the ball's bobbled. Duga coming around, and the Shockers are going to tie the game.
Well, all they've needed Trey Vickers to do is hit, and he comes through in a huge way here. A great at bat to tie this game up, and that was the spark the Shockers needed. This ball served into right center field. No shot for anybody to get to it, but then Vaughn just overruns it and lost the handle on it. That allows Duga to score.
Alex Jackson will indeed come off the bench to pinch run for Vickers at second. But how about the senior shortstop coming in cold, literally off the bench, has tied this game at 4 here in the 8th. And the Shockers take advantage of some Texas Arlington charity. So Gunnar Troutwine, now the potential go-ahead run in scoring position, still just 1 out. They have scored that as a single and an error. Of course, the run right now unearned against Ryan Buss. Troutwine takes a strike. He's had another very good day at the plate, 2 for 3, including a huge 2-run single back in the 4th. One senior came through a moment ago. A chance for another to deliver a Shocker lead. Tommy Barnhouse is getting ready down in the Wichita State bullpen. You would imagine for the 9th. 1-1. Out towards shortstop. Minjarez to first. 2 out. Jackson goes to third.
And now they'll put it on Boyer with Jackson 90 feet away. And a good read by Alex Jackson, by the way. That ball hit pretty much right at him. But he got a good jump and got to third easily.
So the go-ahead run stands 90 feet away, and Jordan Boyer a chance to be the hero. He is 0 for 3 today, has lined back to the mound, grounded into a double play, and struck out. And he takes ball 1. Shockers looking to rally, looking to improve to 12-2, looking to complete a series sweep. 2-0. Jordan Boyer has already delivered one game-winning hit this season. The series finale against McNeese State. He gave the Shockers that 11-10 win. Left side, going to hang up for the third baseman Williams. His throw is low, but dug out by Salinas. And Wichita State unable to take the lead, but they tie the game. Trey Vickers off the bench delivering a run-scoring hit. It's 4-4 heading to the ninth on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Trey Vickers delivering an RBI single thanks to an error by the center fielder Vaughn that has tied this game up at 4 heading into the top of the 9th inning. Clayton McGinnis will get a chance to keep working after he recorded the final out of the 8th. He came on and hit a batter, but then struck out Zach Cook with 2 on and 2 out. He'll face R.J. Williams, Noah Vaughn, and Christian Holly, 2, 3, and 4 in the Texas Arlington order.
A tough part of the lineup that has had varying degrees of success. Williams started off red hot today, has been cooled off a bit, and Noah Vaughn, you always feel like you want to be careful with the big left-handed bat who's waiting on deck.
Williams singled his first 2 trips against Lungwitz, has since grounded out to first and bounced into a 6-4 fielder's choice that brought home a run. And McGinnis starts him with a breaking ball away for ball 1. Barnhouse and left-hander Cody Tyler now warming in the Wichita State pen. Shockers have some double barrel action going. Get the feeling that this last inning, plus if we end up going into extras, could definitely be a chess match. The Shockers have already made several substitutions at designated hitter. Texas Arlington has made a couple defensive changes as well. Flown foul off to the right side, 2-1 on Williams. Wichita State took the first game of this series 12-3. 5-1 victors yesterday afternoon. Good strike. Fastball at 90 miles an hour in there at the knees. And McGinnis battles back to even at 2-2.
But you get to this point, the Shockers in control so much of today up until that 7th inning where you feel like the sweep is that natural progression. They just got to get back to what they've been doing.
Clayton McGinnis strikes out Williams to start things in the 9th, and he comes back from a 2-0 count to get a big first out.
Well, that's a great breaking ball to finish off Williams. It's a pitch that Clayton McGinnis can go to very effectively. Starts off at the letters and drops down right into the bucket, into the glove of Gunnar Troutwine.
That is all that Clayton McGinnis is going to be needed for in the 9th, as Mike Steele has made the call to the bullpen. Shockers are going to play matchups. This lefty Cody Tyler is coming on to face Noah Vaughn. We'll set the stage for you when we come back. All tied at 4 on WSUTV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Fourth appearance of the season for left-hander Cody Tyler as the redshirt senior makes his way out of the Shocker pen for a left-on-left matchup against Noah Vaughn. And Tyler has been much better as of late. He allowed a run in his first appearance, but since then a couple of scoreless outings against Nebraska and most lately against Oral Roberts when he struck out 3 in an inning and a third of scoreless work. Pretty simple left-on-left matchup against Texas Arlington's probably their best hitter. This is a big spot for Cody Tyler.
Well, Cody Tyler's gotten a little bit better in every outing so far as he's gotten a little bit more comfortable out there. Very good outing against Oral Roberts on Wednesday. But as you mentioned, pretty straightforward in terms of what he's tasked to do against Noah Vaughn, a guy that has been susceptible to the punch-out. But even so, and you look at Vaughn 0 for 4 today, so important to get him out and prevent any sort of big inning or any sort of start to a big inning that may happen for Arlington.
Vaughn has worn the collar today. 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. He's also hit into a double play, popped out to second. So hasn't had much good to swing at. Shockers have done a good job keeping him off the board, but definitely still dangerous.
Off board, and maybe the biggest part of keeping him off the bases has been keeping him off balance. They've had him out on his front foot, and for a guy who is so relaxed and almost looks like a rhythmic hitter in terms of the way he swings, that becomes so important to take him out of his timing.
Tyler ahead quickly, 0-2. He is working off the extreme first base side of that rubber, creating as sharp an angle as possible for this left-on-left matchup. And now Noah Vaughn will have to hit on Cody Tyler's terms. Got him swinging. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Cody Tyler, a 3-pitch strikeout. And there's 2 outs and nobody aboard here in the 9th.
A great plan and executed to a T by Cody Tyler as they're able to go off the plate away, expand the zone a bit, and force Vaughn to chase.
They're going to leave Tyler in to face the right-hand hitting Christian Holly. There are 2 more lefties due up after him. They're going to trust that Tyler can get the righty. He has been on base twice with a single and has also reached on an error, in addition to a strikeout and a ground out.
And I think with those 2 lefties looming in Olsen and Salinas, 2 guys that you want to have a left-handed arm on, it's a good litmus test for Tyler against the right-handed Holly.
Ball and a strike.
Well, we've seen it all day today, but you look at the crooked numbers that have happened, and it has been exclusively based around the free passes. When those have been limited, it has changed the landscape of innings.
Cody Tyler looking pretty sharp right now. He's in the driver's seat, 1-2 against Holly. Shockers will have the top of the order due up in the bottom of the 9th with a chance to walk it off if Tyler can get the 3rd out here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. To the right side, Luke Ritter gobbles it up, throws high to first, but O'Brien stays on the bag. And the Shockers turn a 1-2-3, top of the 9th. Travis Young, Grayson Genesta, Alec Boehm trying to win it in the bottom half. It's 4-4 on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
A good job by Clayton McGinnis and Cody Tyler, who combined to work a 1-2-3 top of the ninth with a couple of strikeouts. And now the stage is set as Wichita State has a chance to walk off to a series sweep. They'll have the top of the order due up against Ryan Buss, Travis Young, Grayson Genesta, and Alec Boehm. Two righties and a lefty sandwiched in the middle against Buss, who allowed the tying run to score in the eighth, but it was an unearned run to an error by the center fielder Vaughn on Trey Vickers' single. And now the Shockers with a chance to rally from what was a 4-3 deficit and walk out of X Stadium with a sweep.
All it takes is one swing of the bat. The conditions may not be right for that one swing, but it just takes that perfectly placed ball for the Shockers. And they got the part of the order that I think they would choose to have up if they could.
Travis Young is 1 for 4. That one hit was a double. Squares to bunt and takes ball one. Ideally, this would be a great guy to have on to start this ninth inning. You're not really picky when it comes to getting a leadoff man on in the ninth. Very late time called by Young as Buss was ready to fire, ended up throwing it home anyway.
Yeah, he came set before Young was in the box.
Travis has shown bunt quite a bit today. Has not actually laid one down. Takes a strike 1-1. Trying to, at the very least, pull Williams in at third.
Trying to move the defense. They're even trying to drag Salinas in a bit. Way deep over at first. You see it there.
Swinging away this time and nubs it right off the end of the bat. We saw the value of that with his double in the fifth. When you can pull Williams in just a step or two, his chopping ground ball ended up getting over his head and down the left field line.
Well, Boyer last inning barely missed getting the ball over Williams' head as well. Ball that just bounced right into Williams' lap, but that's exactly right.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Travis Young. Genesta and Boehm, the two guys behind him, have a combined 10 home runs this season. Travis does not have one yet. Fouled right back to the right of us. Bangs off the window a couple feet to our right. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of trust in Buss for Darren Thomas in UTA. They're looking for him to eat up innings right now. Have to imagine that one guy they want him to see again is Genesta.
Young hanging around, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's hard to pinpoint who's really the shutdown reliever for this Texas Arlington team. They only have 2 saves so far this year, and that's both from guys with ERAs over 10.
I think that's part of what Darren Thomas is trying to figure out, where he can get those outs at.
2-2 again. Line on a hop at Minjarez. He lets it into the body but recovers and throws to first to get Young.
Pretty good hands. Minjarez stays with that one all the way. Could have been interesting with the way that ball hopped, but he sticks right on it. Very smooth. And throws out Travis Young. Play could have been a lot harder.
Really could have eaten him up rather easily, but Minjarez showed some soft hands, letting that one get into the body and recovering to make the play. Big first out for Texas Arlington, but now it's Genesta. Slow breaking ball, 68 miles an hour, drops off the table low.
Well, this is the part of the lineup where things got interesting in the 7th. Remember, Genesta called out on a fastball that looked like it was quite a ways out. And then Bohm, right after that, called out on the other side of the plate on strikes by Ben Harlow. But I bring both of those at-bats up because it's going to be interesting to see if Buss tries to approach both of those guys in similar fashions because it worked, or if he'll feel like he'll need to vary the look.
Another slow breaking ball. 69 stays low. 2 balls and a strike. He's not going to supply any of the power for Grayson Jenna, so that's for sure. A lot of slow stuff to start the at-bat. Fastball ripped on a hop to the second baseman Cook, who throws to first. 2 well-struck grounders and 2 outs to show for it.
Well, Buss altogether has had a pretty good outing, matching his season high of 2 2/3. But Darren Thomas has allowed him to go out there and get multiple outs for multiple innings, not just a left-handed specialist. And he's been successful today.
Alec Bohm has walked in 4 trips. Ball and no strikes on a pitch that Alec has seen called a strike earlier today. He's gone down on strikes twice, both times looking. 1-1. Quite the outing in relief right now for Ryan Buss, as he is making his way up towards 45 pitches into his 3rd inning of work. He's ahead of Bohm, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Alec and Ben Harlow are not the best of friends right now.
Well, Buss went right back to the same spot that he got strike 1 for strike 2. I'm expecting to see something a bit slower here.
1 ball, 2 strikes. You were right. Change up, down, and away. Four runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for Texas Arlington. 4 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for Wichita State. Late time again. It's twice in this inning. Ryan Buss has ended up delivering to home plate after time has been called. Ready now? Lined up the right field line. That is going to slice and go foul. Good idea, though, from Alec Bohm. That's where you're going to get some help. And he definitely has the power to get it out of here to right field.
Well, he will use the whole field. We've seen it. He's a very complete hitter, and we can say that time and time again.
Into right field, deep towards the corner, reaching and making a running catch before crashing into the wall is Funk. Alec Bohm's bid for extra bases is denied on a nice running play by Aaron Funk, and the Shockers go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Free baseball coming up. It's 4-4 on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Both teams go in order in the ninth, and Cody Tyler will come back out for the top of the 10th with Will Olson, Omar Salinas, and Josh Minjarez, 2 lefties and a righty, due up for Texas Arlington, as Wichita State had a chance to walk off a winner in the bottom of the 9th inning, but they go quickly and quietly against Ryan Buss, and it is Cody Tyler tasked with keeping the game right where it is and giving the Shockers another chance.
Well, you've talked about the chess match, and I think Ryan Buss has taken some of that strategy out of play for Darren Thomas. He gave them 3 great innings. For the Shockers, Cody Tyler came on and effectively got out of the 9th, and now he's going to match up here against 2 left-handers to start the 10th.
Will Olson, a couple flyouts. He's also been on base with a walk and a hit by pitch. High fastball from Cody Tyler starts us here in the 10th. The Shockers dropped their only other extra inning contest this season, and that was the Sunday game last weekend against Nebraska. So the parallels between these 2 weekend series continue. 2-0.
Well, today's game has felt a bit backwards from the first 2 of this series in that Arlington and Wichita State traded blows for the first third on Friday and Saturday. Today, the Shockers jumped out to the early lead, but this has felt a lot more nip and tuck the way those first couple innings Friday and Saturday did.
Looked like Olson was taken all the way on 2-0, and Tyler gets back into the count with a strike.
I think you bring up a good point about some of the parallels from last weekend, because this is a big question. This Sunday spot for the Shockers, Connor Lungwitz today, very effective 5 innings, just allowed the 1 run in the 5th on kind of a weird triple to start that inning. But he worked out of some danger.
Didn't get the call on a close fastball off the outside edge. Now 3 balls and a strike.
I think the Shockers felt that pitch was similar to the one that Genesta struck out on back in the 7th, and at least asking questions as to where that did miss.
Strike. So Will Olson has watched 5 pitches go by. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and a big one coming up next. What's Cody Tyler got in store? Swing and a miss. What a pitch. Took something off at 82 to the outside part of the plate. And Cody Tyler, a big strikeout to start the inning.
Yeah, I think it's easy as an offense sometimes. The Shockers have allowed a lot of free passes today to be a little too lax. And Tyler comes up with a great pitch at the right time, forcing Will Olson to try and put a good swing on it. But that's a perfect spot.
So now Cody gets another lefty, and Omar Salinas, 1 for 4 with a single, has flown out, struck out, and grounded out. Right-hand hitter and Josh Minjarez will follow. Tyler Davis, freshman right-hander, has been loosening down in the Wichita State pen. But I imagine if Tyler is able to retire Salinas, he'll get a chance to end the inning. Throws a strike, 1-1.
Well, and the way this Mavs lineup is set up, Aaron Funk would be the looming left-handed bat anyways, should the inning continue. And he has been a pest.
Cody very clearly trying to work away to both of these same side hitters. Pounded the outside part of the plate against Olson and has done the same with his first 3 offerings to Salinas. Trying not to let anything leak back out over the inside part of the plate where a left-handed hitter could pull it into that breeze. That's a great spot. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Seen a few lefty-lefty matchups today on both sides go with that pitch. Try and make the left-hand hitter drive it towards left field. And the lefty hitters have not had success.
Popped up left field. Travis Young drifting in, still running, having to sprint now, and makes the catch in very shallow left. He'll end up as the third baseman before turning around and heading back to his position. But for as shallow as he was, to still have to sprint in shows how much that wind has been a factor.
Well, it's kind of the point, right? That's why you let a lefty take a swing like that, see how far they can hit it. He's camped out in straightaway left field, and he's going to end up making this, wow, a little long run. As Young has to track it down. A little exhale of relief.
So Cody has done his job. He's gotten the first two lefties. Now get a chance to finish the frame against Josh Minjarez, the right-hand hitting shortstop. Sacrifice bunt, line out back to the mound, then a walk and a run scored before bouncing out to short his last time up.
I'll put this question back onto you, talking about some of the chess match moves that you'd think would be made. Having a lefty facing a righty right now, typically that's the matchup you would avoid with a lefty on the mound. But with the way this park has played today, you feel like both coaches kind of taking their chances with it.
Well, the way Cody has looked through his first four hitters, I've got no problem letting him face either side hitter at this point. A couple strikeouts and then some weak contact from Hawley and now Salinas. 4 up and 4 down against the redshirt senior from Forney, Texas. Up the middle, just past the second base bag and on into center field. And Minjarez delivers a 2-out single.
Just right back up the box. Pitch that probably cut a little bit more plate, but Tyler being aggressive as he has been since coming out of the bullpen.
And you can definitely live with 2-out singles, especially when you're being aggressive in counts. And I'm sure Mike Steele has no problem with that. It does set up another left-on-left matchup with Aaron Funk. Troutwine wants an appeal. He's going to get a late one, a no swing, as the count goes to 1-0. Funk has been on base 3 times, 3 different ways. Chopping triple down the right field line back in the 5th, walked and scored in the 7th, and then was hit by a pitch in the 8th. Minjarez is not a great runner on at first. Doesn't have a stolen base attempt yet this year. High pop-up, shallow right field. Luke Ritter waiting for it, makes the catch. Great job by Cody Tyler as he throws up a 0 in the top of the 10th. Shockers will have another chance to win it when we come back. 4-4 on WSUTV.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Wichita State University is Shocker Nation. We exceed expectations, push boundaries, seize opportunities, and move boldly ahead. We are student-centered and innovation-driven. It's who we are. Our vision is simple but powerful. Create, innovate, collaborate, and celebrate. With one unifying purpose: to shock the world.
Well, with the exception of that 3-run top of the 7th inning, the Wichita State bullpen has done some good work this afternoon, and Cody Tyler continuing that spell with a scoreless top of the 10th inning. He's given Wichita State's offense another chance to walk off a winner. They'll send 4, 5, and 6, Mason O'Brien, Luke Ritter, and Dayton Dugas to the plate against Ryan Buss, who's back out there for a 4th inning of work.
Well, Shockers looking to try to tag Buss. They've really only had the 2 hits in the 8th against him. Other than that, he has been pretty effective. And Darren Thomas electing to stick with the southpaw for a second time that he's seen most of these hitters.
David Moffitt, a righty warming down the Texas Arlington pen, has thrown a complete game down there. It's been a lot of pitches for him warming up. And Mason O'Brien, first pitch swinging, pops it up left side, foul territory. Williams makes the catch, 1 pitch and 1 out.
O'Brien, we've seen the aggressiveness from him work to success. But the lefty Buss with a fantastic job against Mason O'Brien to shut him down twice with 2 pop-outs.
3 1/3 innings for Ryan Buss, and that is going to be it for him as Texas Arlington makes the call to the bullpen. We'll keep you posted on the new arm when we come back. 4-4 our score on WSU TV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Right-hander David Moffitt, 6 foot, 170-pound freshman from Wichita Falls, Texas, who has been a starter all of this season for Texas Arlington, comes out of the bullpen with 1 out and nobody aboard here in the bottom half of the 10th. 0-3, the record for Moffitt in his 3 starts. This will be his first relief outing of 2018, and you see the peripheral numbers for him, the 4.26 ERA, but Darren Thomas going with the lefty, or excuse me, with the righty, with 2 righties coming up.
Well, a lot of trust in Moffitt, the freshman who has been thrust into the starting role. This will be his first relief appearance. He has surrendered a fair amount of hits, but he does have strikeout stuff.
Luke Ritter has reached on an error and a walk. He's also grounded to short and struck out swinging. First man to face Moffitt. Cuts through a fastball, 1-1. Moffitt's last start was against Baylor. He lasted 4 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits and 2 runs, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts and no walks. Ritter to the right side. There's Cook. Throws wide to first base, and it pulled Salinas off the bag. A gift for the Shockers, gives them a 1-out runner.
Well, you look at this game, and freebies have been a big part of it for both teams. This is a routine ground ball. Moffitt makes his pitch, and Cook, who started the game in left field, has a great arm, just misfires, and Salinas can't keep his foot on the bag. A freebie for Wichita State, to be sure.
3rd error of the afternoon for a Texas Arlington team that didn't have bad defensive numbers coming in. Dayton Dugard takes a strike. They were fielding at a 973 clip, 13 errors in 12 games coming into play today, but have made a mess of things on a couple of different chances defensively today. 0-1. Dugard's down 0-2. He's working on quite the afternoon. 4 for 4, 4 singles, and the average is all the way up to 277.
Well, he swung it well today. And he's taken some good bats. That 8th inning at bat was a fantastic at bat after seeing 3 pitches and banging out 3 hits in his first 3 plate appearances.
High chopper to the right side, trying to tag Ritter, couldn't. Oh no, they rule that Ritter was tagged. Willie Schwanke coming out of the first base coach's box, and I really hope the umpires confer on this because it did not look like Ritter was tagged.
This is going to be a frustrating one. Ritter's walking back to the dugout because we don't believe replay is active. But this is the third base umpire, Travis Olson, who slid over to cover second base. And Sammy Esposito is just requesting that somebody else has a conversation with Travis Olson right now.
Well, the umpires are going to get together to talk about this. Just a big high bouncer right off the turf from Duga that the second baseman Cook fielded and tried to tag Ritter as he slid into second base. Doesn't sound like we have a great look at it on our replay. But they're going to stick with the call on the field, and that doesn't seem like a great break for Wichita State. Here's the big high bouncer to the right side. You see Cook coming into your screen to field it. Hard to see.
Well, Travis Olson, the closest guy to it. But you really feel like there wasn't even much of an effort by Cook to make an attempt and make a tag. And he kind of, Cook, the fielder kind of seemed surprised at the out call. He felt like he got stuck in the in-between hop.
So it goes down as a fielder's choice. Ritter retired. Duga on at first. And 2 outs for Alex Jackson, who will get his first at-bat after coming on as a pinch runner. And Jackson fouls it in and out of the mitt of Olson. Wichita State has now used 4 different guys at the DH spot today. All started with Hunter Gibson, then Josh DeBacker, then Trey Vickers, and now Jackson. Good swing by Alex, but he's down 1-2.
I was just talking about gifts, and I think that Arlington's got to feel like they caught a break because that was a situation on 2 straight balls. Moffitt, to his credit, has made the pitches that he's needed to make. He's gotten 2 balls hit towards his second baseman, but both misplayed. And the Shockers feeling like they should have a lot more leverage in this situation.
Again, Cook was not the starting second baseman. That was Easton Johnson, who was lifted for a pinch hitter. Cook was the original left fielder. There goes Duga. Little looper into right field. That's going to get in for a base hit. Duga steaming around second is going to head to third. The throw there is offline and late. And the Shockers have runners at the corners with 2 out.
Well, this is a great piece of hitting by Alex Jackson. And he just serves it into right field. Dayton Duga off with the pitch. Gets a great jump. Very interesting that Funk let this one go because Duga's already halfway to third by the time Funk gets to it. And all that could have done was in the game in favor of the Shockers.
And Darren Thomas is going to gather his infield on the mound, with now the winning run standing 90 feet away with 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning. The batter will be Gunnar Troutwine. Sammy Esposito is going to confer with his runners as the discussion breaks up on the mound. The Shockers now with 10 hits in the ball game, but likely will need 1 more here from Troutwine to walk off a winner. Gunnar has 2 hits, has also struck out and grounded out to short.
Well, he's hit the ball hard up the middle today. He's hit the ball hard up the middle in this series going back to last night.
I wonder if Alex Jackson at any point will take second base to try and eliminate the force out there. Troutwine takes a fastball for a strike. 0-1. They are holding Jackson on, so there wouldn't be a free romp to second for him. David Moffitt, the right-hander, kicks and fires. Bounced it. Good block by Olson. 1-1. Of course, a lot of ways you can score from third base with 2 outs. Wild pitch, pass ball, or any error would likely do the trick.
So give credit to Olson for keeping that ball in front.
Big, slow breaking ball. Troutwine lets it go by, and it's 1-2.
That was a good pitch. Moffitt has used his fastball quite a bit to set up the off-speed pitch today, and he goes right to it there after a good fastball for strike one, the breaking ball for strike two, right at the top of the zone.
There goes Jackson. Pitches down and away, and Alex will cruise into second base unattended as the count moves to 2-2 strikes. That'll go down, I imagine, as defensive indifference.
You are correct.
So no force out at second. 2 strikes, the count on Gunnar Troutwine. To the right side, base hit, and the Shockers win it. Gunnar Troutwine, a 2-out RBI single, and Wichita State sweeps the series with a 5-4 victory here on Sunday afternoon.
Well, Gunnar Troutwine has been fantastic in this series. He comes through with another clutch hit. And have a day, Troutwine. A great swing, drives it through the right side, and he knew it coming out of the box that ball was getting through to right field. Nip and tuck all the way through this one, and the Shockers able to pull it out thanks to a great at-bat at the end by Gunnar Troutwine.
Tim and I will take a short break. We'll be back to wrap things up with the final totals here from X Stadium. 5-4, the Shockers win it on WSUTV.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Wichita State had to rally to get it done on Sunday afternoon, but they do just that, tying the game up in the 8th and then coming through with a Gunnar Troutwine walk-off single in the bottom of the 10th. They take this one 5-4 over the Texas Arlington Mavericks, improving to 12-2 on the season. Tim, it wasn't always pretty, but sometimes when you win, it's gorgeous, no matter what the outcome.
Well, those are the ones that when they get away, you're pretty frustrated about it. But today the Shockers did not let it go away, no matter how many things seemed to go against them. And some frustrating plays in the midst of that ball game. Ultimately, you look at a guy like Gunnar Troutwine, who came up big at the end. He had some great at-bats all series long, especially today. He ends up producing 3 runs for the Shockers, and that proves to be the difference.
David Moffitt takes the loss. He falls to 0-4. Cody Tyler picks up the victory. He improves to 1-0. The Shockers complete the sweep. They're 12-2 as they'll head on the road for dates against Missouri and Creighton this upcoming week. For Tim Slack, my name is Denning Garrick. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a production of WSU TV.